It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox broke up a scoreless game with 4 runs in the 6th inning, and they went on to blow out Colorado 10-2 at Fenway Park. Brian Bayo took a 2-hit shutout into the 9th inning. He settled for a complete game 5-hitter with 10 strikeouts. Trevor Story led the offense with a 3-run homer and 4 RBIs in all, and the Sox go for a 3-game sweep tonight. Masataka Yoshida is expected to be activated off the injured list today, and Nate Eaton has been sent back to AAA Worcester. In Celtics news, Brad Stevens met the media yesterday. He said the roster he's got now is probably the roster the team will go with at the beginning of next season.
I'd say that, who knows what will happen, but as far as us, we're very comfortable with this group heading into next season.
Al Horford is now not expected to return. He's reportedly considering retirement. In addition, Jaylen Brown is expected to be a full go for next season, and Jason Tatum is progressing well from his Achilles surgery, but still doesn't have a timetable for his return. The Celtics Summer League roster was finalized yesterday. It includes all 3 draft picks as well as Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh. They begin play in Las Vegas on Friday. 3 days after getting him from New Orleans, the Washington Wizards traded Kelly Olynyk to San Antonio yesterday, and Lionel Messi and Inter Miami CF visit the New England Revolution tonight at Gillette Stadium. We'll have kickoff at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. At the moment, Messi is expected to play. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Get
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT going up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Cheese, tomatoes,
Hey there.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Hey there.
We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube to get involved with that. It's very, very exciting. You will be fit to be tied at the end of it. Let me tell you that much. Gentlemen, hello. I hope everyone had a wonderful day yesterday. I bet you it rained last night. I'll tell you that.
Whoa. Like the sky opened up, huh?
There's like a light show out there.
God going to the bathroom.
That's offensive. Mostly.
You know what? Yeah.
We stood out on the driveway and watched the heat lightning last night, and the clouds kind of like, out over the city, kind of like east of us there. And it's beautiful. And then the sky just opened up. Oh, boy, did it rain.
Did you get the forked lightning, or did you just get the flashes?
Just the flashes
got-
in the clouds. And then, the forked lightning was coming down, too, but I was in bed. It was flashing through the windows. It was bugging me. Could see it, though.
Oh, nice.
Could see it bleeding through. I needed a cleansing of the lawn yesterday due to an incident. And this is the second incident in as many weeks where I had been outside and smelled something. Smelled the unmistakable smell of decay and death. But this time, unfortunately, to get you even more worked up, Fred, it started in the home when the boy came to me and said, do you smell that? I said, no, I'm way over here. What do I smell? He said, I think it's the dog. I think it's her breath. I'm like, what? So I walk over to where the dog is laying in one of her customary spots by the front door. She can just keep an eye on things. And I walked over toward her. I'm like, oh, my God, does she smell like death? I said, that's not her breath. And I can see by looking at her right shoulder that she's been, rolling on the ground. I said, she rolled in something. I said, all right, first things first, we got to wash the dog. We got to take the dog outside, give the dog a hose down, a scrubbing, and a shampoo. And all right, got her all cleaned up. I said, now we got to go find what she was rolling in. So start, working in the yard. The boy walks past this more than once before I get to it. And I said, hey, did you notice this head laying here and the body about 3 feet away from it? What head? The rabbit head. No. I said, okay, well, bring the shovel. Let's go.
Yeah.
This is what we're looking for out here. I mean, you can tell by the smell, but you can also tell by the head with the long ears attached to it. So something now in the last 2 weeks has killed a rabbit and left it by my shed. And I know there are rabbits living underneath the shed. So now this is what I have to do. I have to get the rabbits out from underneath the shed, and then I have to put some kind of barrier up so they don't go in there anymore, because this is just a buffet for, I don't know if it's a coyote, if it's a hawk, or something is coming and feeding on the rabbits living underneath my shed.
Is it possible your dog, while out in the backyard?
Zero.
Really?
Zero.
Because my dog kills animals in my backyard.
My dog is friends with the rabbits.
Okay.
She will lay there while they hop around her, and she says, hello, friends.
That's very nice.
Yeah. She likes to eat their poop. So she invites them into the yard.
How nice.
I got Fred double interested.
A delicacy, if you will.
Yeah. So this is now my task. And Marcia and I were talking about this last night, and she kind of put a challenge out to me. I know what she's doing. She's like, this sounds like something you might need to hire somebody for. I said,
how long has she been married to you?
How dare you?
Oh, my God.
But how do you get...
That's an insult.
How do you get rabbits from... and God knows how many live down and underneath that shed. Yeah. How do you get them out before you put up the barricade so they don't get back in? You don't want to barricade them in there and then have them die inside there, and then you got a real stink.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
Sonar? We're going to have to use some kind of sound waves.
You're going to rent equipment for this?
I hope so. I'm not sure.
You know anyone in the Navy that might come in and loan you a sonar? Anyone with naval intelligence that can help you out?
A couple of Navy guys from back in the day, but I don't know if they have access to that equipment anymore. There's got to be something, though, to get the rabbits out, short of going in there and just poking them all with a stick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
Because you really can't say, there's
other than ripping up the shed and flushing them out. No, you can't do that.
No,
okay.
Not doing that.
All right.
So I don't know. I haven't investigated yet, but that's my new project. That's my new mission.
I think it's great your dog doesn't kill animals. I think it's great that your dog, Scout, is one with nature. My dog is not like that at all. I've seen my dog race across the yard and catch a squirrel and kill it. I've seen her, she's killed 2 woodchucks in the last 2 months. The animals know not to come into my backyard because she's constantly patrolling the area.
The dog is a brood. What are you teaching that dog?
I'm not teaching the dog anything. She came to me just like that. 60 pounds of express train is what she is.
I don't think we're getting together for a play date.
No, I'm not seeing that. No. My dog doesn't like other dogs at all.
Doesn't? Oh, not at all.
There are like 3 in the neighborhood she likes, and every other dog she wants to lunge at.
Yeah, she's. You can only get a dog to like one other kind of animal, and that birds. You know what I'm saying? With this Johnny, do you find that your dog is attracted to birds in any way, shape, or form?
No, not at all. Does not like birds. Chases them all away.
Do you think because it looks at you as kind of like a mother?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. So,
I'm
so
fine. I'm
how
fine.
did you get so how did you dispose of the rabbit? Buried?
No.
You didn't dig a grave?
No.
Shoebox?
No.
Flipped it over the fence with the shovel, didn't you?
No, I walked it well into the woods and chucked it way back into the woods.
Yeah.
Look at this. One quick Google search. There is a rabbit repellent, which are these, some kind of like balls that probably smell like something that rabbits don't like, but ultrasonic rabbit repeller, pack of 2, $54.99. It looks space age. It's got spikes. There's stuff going on with this thing. I like it already. I have no idea if it works, but I like it better than just buying a box of mothballs and throwing them down there.
Yeah, I told you this story about when we had there's many things I found. There was a cat that I had when I was in Atlanta that someone had called me and they said when I was at work, I was doing nights, and they said that they had come across a cat that had died and that it had the tag had my number on it, and I went, oh boy, the cat's dead. So I went over to their house and they'd wrapped the cat in the blanket. So I threw it in a dumpster. I had an apartment building with a dumpster, so I threw it in the dumpster, and I went on the air, and I was like, yeah, I threw the cat in the dumpster, and people acted like I killed the cat, and it was so funny to me. Like, what did you want me to do? I lived in the condo. It's not like did I have a yard? No. Did I have a patch of grass? No. Was there a patch of grass in the condo? No. There was a pool. But the pool was surrounded by concrete. What did you want a 23-year-old, 24-year-old to do with the dead cat?
You just said it. He had a pool. That's a burial at sea.
Oh, I mean, I did a
ceremony.
Viking funeral for it, but but I still had to get rid of the carcass.
It was really it looked like a literal dumpster fire.
Yeah, yeah. We I mean, I put it in a small ship, and then I shot flaming arrows at it to get it to. But I'll always remember that because you don't realize how crazy everyone is until you've done radio for a while. And I was doing nights, and I was still very naive because I would have people call in, and I would basically just screw with people. That was my show. I would mess around because there's a lot of hicks. Nights, I think everyone here has done nights. Like you get crazy people calling in, and that's kind of fun. And you tape the phone calls. You can edit them up and stuff. It was I was pretty good at it, but it might have been when I first got mornings because this happened when I was doing nights because I was at work when I got the call. So, but I might have told the story like on the morning show, like right when I got the morning show, because it was something like this that happened, and I was just trying to add, to fill time, and I said it, and people got like really mad at me, and I went, oh my god, even though you show bravado on the air, like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh boy, like I wonder if I really screwed up, like if I did something terrible. And and then I think about it now, and it's, how many years later, 25 years later, and I think to myself, the hell were these people talking about? The hell am I supposed? And then some people would go like, well, it's bad for the environment. It's bad for the garbage. Oh, as opposed to all the garbage you throw out is so. What do you wash your garbage before you throw it out? What do you do with the dead food that you have? Well, there's probably maggots on it at some point. Yeah, garbage. Yeah. I didn't put it in what I said. I didn't put it on someone's porch. I didn't drop it off at an elementary school. I put it in a dumpster. The hell are you supposed to do with it? You're supposed to bury it. Where?
Again, you find the soft playground, the soft dirt at a playground, and that's also where you're supposed to bury your old batteries.
Yeah, the sandbox.
Yeah,
or kitchenware that's no longer of use to you is a lot of times. I usually put that in apples that I give away around the Halloween holiday.
I got in trouble once on the air talking about batteries and said something like, oh, the proper way to dispose of batteries is you wrap them in toilet paper and then you take them to a the proper disposal area, like Jamaica Pond. And you just wrap them in toilet paper and you chuck them into Jamaica Pond. And then people got so, you can't do that, the lithium dioxide.
You'll
thanks
kill
a lot.
all the wildlife. It's your fault, you heartless bastard.
Yeah, I'm doing a comedy show, ladies and gentlemen. This is I'm being ridiculous, and they get upset. Well, that you kind of want. Like you kind of like when you're screwing with people, you kind of want them to react like that. That's actually a good reaction that you got.
Yeah, but it ends up
shows
taking
you-
over. I wasn't doing the Phil Hendry show that I
No.
just wanted to move on.
No. I understand what you're saying, but that would have satisfied me. But again, when I did nights, the morning show, I felt like a lot like I was having to prove myself because I had never done anything like that before. When I did nights, I took great joy in getting in trouble. I really did. I thought it was great. I liked getting in trouble. I liked and I didn't do anything like where the station, like I jeopardized the license or I was going to get fined or something, but I did enjoy that kind of like mischief. The stakes get a lot higher when you're doing mornings. And then I remember, I've told you guys this before, there was a radio board called radio-info.com. And
I remember it well.
It was a message board, and I had my friend Axel at the station said, there's this message board. Now, this is, early 2000s, and there's this is message board, Radio Info. And I went, what are you talking about? And this is, how old I am. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, it's these people that are talking about radio, talking crap about radio. I'm like, no way. No way. I'm like, there's no way there. I wish I could go back in time. I kind of am there again, but it took 20 years to get there. I was like, no way. There's no way that's happening. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I went on, and sure enough, there are this group of whatever, let's say 10, 15 people just crapping on me. Just crapping on me. And I remember where I was. It was before Music Midtown, and I was researching interviews, which never will happen again. And I was researching interviews, and I looked at it, and I went, oh, my God, what pieces of garbage. I was like, this is awesome. I thought this is awesome. And then you fast forward 10 years from that, and Twitter comes out, and all of a sudden, it's bothering me and driving me crazy. And then it takes until I'm 48 until I stopped caring again. That was how long it took. It took from about 25 until 48 until I stopped caring. That's
in your biography, there will be a section called the caring years.
Yes, exactly. No, caring about what people said on the internet instead of just immediately going whoa, these guys are the biggest dorks. Who would sit there talking about this? Now, they weren't fans. That's different. If you're a group of fans and complaining about the show, that's different. This was just some group of radio people, probably people in the industry, just complaining. And when I came to WBCN, the people like Neanderthal were not fans. And the kid that used to do afternoons at BCN, the ones that Opie and Anthony said something, called them.
Nick Carter. Yes, he had 5 aliases that he would use on Radio Info to defend himself and argue with people. And I know this because he left himself logged in on the BCN Jock Lounge computer when I went in to prep for my show. And I said, oh, isn't this nice?
And one day you can tell me why Neanderthal and he felt the need when they weren't in Boston to sit on that message board and screw with us. Because, you're vulnerable. You just had moved into a town and you're, reading this stuff. And it's these two guys that don't even work in the market anymore. Pathetic. Ben, go ahead.
Freddie, baby.
Benjamin, hello.
Hello. So great to hear you. Shout out YouTube Nation, Twitch, we all love you. Hey, Hardy.
Yeah.
You got to call one of your coworkers to deal with the rabbits. A man by the name of Jay Stu. he'll tell you to get outside, put some face paint on, and lay low. And when you find those little bastard, you take him out with a dull blade.
That's right.
Let the air slowly go away. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
No, you leave it in the shed. Leave it under the shed. Leave it. I'll take care of it later. Leave it under the shed. Meow, meow, meow.
You have to lay in wait.
It's kitty cat, J. Stu. Just put it under the shed. I'll get to it later. Just leave it right there. I cover my feces. I'm not gross. I kick dirt on it. Yeah.
It's very nice of you. Very, very kind.
Yeah. Hey, what you doing with that yarn? I'm going to hit it around. And then I'm going to bite you for no reason. Because I'm sick of the yarn, so I'm going to bite you.
And then when we try to catch you, what happens?
Oh, I'm booking.
You're gonna run.
I'm booking.
You're running.
I'm making tracks.
I'm out of here, Jack.
I'm out of here, buddy boy. And then at night you're gonna turn on the back light and you'll see my eyes reflecting off the light. And then you'll reach under the shed to get me, and I'll just keep drifting further and further back. You can't get under here. You can't see me. All right, we'll be back. The Red Sox played last night. Brad Stevens talked yesterday. So much to do. We'll have all that for you coming up in just a moment. Toucher and Hardy, what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what's going down?
Start with the Red Sox here, who hosted the Colorado Rockies last night. Brian Bayo on the mound. We'll get to him in a moment, as it was scoreless into the 6th inning, and then things started popping.
Shot toward the gap. Back there, back to the wall. It catches the green. It gets right by Doyle. A run will score. Marcelo is in, and all the way down to third, Romy Gonzalez. Man, is he swinging the bat.
That was actually in the 7th, after the Sox had already built up a 4-0 lead in the 6th inning. They would add to that lead. How about some homers? I mean, triples are nice, but come on.
Swinging a shot back toward the wall, high and deep, and gone. Trevor Story with a 3-run homer, and the route is on once again at Fenway. Number 15.
That is to make it 9-0 in the 7th inning. That's pretty good. I mean, 10 would be better.
Swinging a shot, high and deep to right. Watch this one sail. That's gone. And the Red Sox get to 10. Jaron Duran with a lightning strike. Number 7.
Oh, live lightning strikes. And to each a time. And to me, garbage.
Lightning flashes and old mother dies.
And the bassist has got acne. Let's not show him in the video too much. He's slapping away, and it's kind of the whole basis of the song, but let's not show him because he's ugly. As opposed to Ed Kowalczyk, who's a real handsome guy.
Let's get to 10.
You know, live is I wish I didn't say I didn't like stuff so much. Live is a really bad band. Really, 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 really,
They've
really
got a
bad band.
really good bass player.
Well, that's what I was just saying,
Yeah.
is that like that he boom boom bop boom, like that slap stuff, like
Yeah.
he's that whole song, like whatever that is, that Pain by the Riverside or whatever the hell song it is.
Pain Lies by the Riverside.
Yeah, so but they won't show him because he's
I
got
played this song when I was in college. Could you cue up Operation Spirit? When I heard
Yeah.
Operation Spirit the first time, I said this band is going to be huge. This is good. This is hooky, and yeah.
Oh, and the earnestness of those videos really can't be easy to watch if you're them. The pain of being in live.
So Ed Kowalczyk now just tours as himself with a bunch of other musicians. Like no one else from the band live is in the band live anymore, right? But he retained the name.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
It's
a
kinda-
whole Queensryche situation
I was
where I
gonna
think
say-
there's the other members also sometimes try to tour.
Well, you say Queensryche, I say Days of the New.
Well, you know what happened in Queensryche is Jeff Tate pulled a knife on one of the guys in the
Right.
band, and now, they don't want any part of him anymore.
It's a whole lot of drama.
I had a friend who loved Operation Mindcrime. We went to Hilton Head together when I was in high school, and he just would go to sleep like with Operation Mindcrime playing in his headphones, and he would play it to me. He'd be like, "This is such a great concept album." I'm like, I really liked him, and I like wanted to like what he liked, and I was just like, I don't know what about this you like. They have that one. Queensryche has one really good song.
They have one really good album, Empire. I mean, Empire is a great album and had a lot of singles on it. I can't get into concept albums in general. It's just like, ugh.
Sometimes they're cool, but I can't. Like The Elder by Kiss is really good. What the hell is the song? Oh, Jet City Woman's a good song.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
Let's get back to Brian Bayo here for a moment. 9th inning. What? He's still in the game? What's happening?
No, super happy to be
Oh,
able.
that's not it. I want to get the final call.
One more to get here in the 9th inning for Brian Bayo.
His brother Scott is sexually harassing the hot blonde who got fat.
That's right. They are related. Exact same spelling.
Clean game for Brian Bayo. Red Sox win it.
Look at him. He's at the Republican National Convention before it was cool to actually be there.
They ripped off 5 in a row, and they'll look for another sweep tomorrow night.
Oh, this one's all about Bayo.
Indeed, Brian Bayo, 9 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits, 10 strikeouts. as the Sox get the 10-2 win over the Rockies, who fall, unfortunately, to 21-71 on their season. But the Sox now 3 games above 500.
50 games under 500 before the All-Star break.
Right.
That's remarkable. That's really hard to do.
Yeah, they're not good. But look, you beat these bad teams. It still counts as a win. All right, we can do the exercise.
Yes.
Now.
All right.
It's a light day in sports, so we can do this. This is the great Pain by the Riverside compared to the famous Jesus Twins appearance on the Howard Stern show. If you don't know who the Jesus Twins were, it was a great thing on Howard Stern.
One of the best bits he ever did. Really.
And who knows if they were joking and who knows what was going on.
That's the beauty of it.
But what happened is Stern had these 3 guys from the music industry, and the Jesus Twins played with a full band and compared the two.
All right, so we'll start with again the hook from Pain Lies on the Riverside, and then here is the hook from the Jesus Twins hit single "Feel My Ubiquity."
Wow.
Good. That's a really good pull, Fred. I doff my cap to you.
And I never thought about it until today.
Yeah.
Like when I heard it, because I hadn't heard live in so long. I'm like, that's it.
Sure. It's like saying, but to follow that argument, you would say Alice in Chains stinks because Godsmack tried to sound like them. How does that make live bad if the Jesus Twins just tried to rip off live?
I don't think the Jesus Twins were trying to rip off live at all. I think the Jesus Twins were trying to be very soulful.
Heavily influenced by Ed Kowalczyk and crew.
They did look similar. I mean, they did have the same kind of ethos. Get it? Now, does anyone think the manager of the Jesus Twins was being straight?
No.
Yeah.
But I think the
two twins were.
Yeah.
Yes, those guys were. Either that or they both deserve every acting award ever.
Well, no, because more would have come out of it. Like, more would have, they would have made something out of that, like, if they were kidding around. But I do think their manager was playing a character because the Jesus Twins, if you remember, played with like a real band.
They did, and then they came back later on, and one of them did like they were musicians. Like one of them played like written some acoustic song or whatever else.
I don't think the Jesus Twins were kidding around. I do think the manager was playing a character though. But I'll never know.
You would think the Jesus Twins would have at least a Wikipedia entry, but that's very sad.
I think one of them got in like a lot of trouble.
Well, one of them was suicide by cop. One of them is no longer with us.
Okay,
they had a lot of, but they had a lot of issues, a lot of problems.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's no good.
You brought the room down. You had to give me an answer to my thing, I think, and then you told me, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Let's get to one more baseball moment. Last night, San Francisco Giants.
Patrick hits a high drive, deep right center field. This one is off the top of the wall, and it ricochets, and it's rolling on the warning track. 2 runs are in. Bailey coming around third. Patrick Bailey scores! It's an inside the park walk-off home run. Now we've seen everything.
Okay, so I would have pulled this audio when I listened to it, but I just didn't feel like getting into it and just crapping on a guy that no one knew. But it will take 1 minute. So the Athletics, the other formerly Bay Area team, has an ex-player who does color commentary for their games. He's like a guy with a big beard. He's supposed to be like a character. It's really annoying. And he was on Jared Carabas, one of his podcasts. It wasn't the Section 10 one. It was something else. And they asked the guy, like, people say you've sold out because, you're so synonymous with the A's. You pitched for them. You were like this part of Oakland. You made a big deal about how much you loved Oakland. And now you followed the team out of Oakland and you're doing it in Sacramento and what have you. And like people are saying you sold out. And you know what his answer was? Yeah, it's sold out. I sold out every day on the field.
Oh.
I sold out. And he went on and on and on. And it was a contrived answer. Why didn't he just go, I get why people from Oakland are pissed. I have to make a living. Like I enjoy being in Major League Baseball. It sucks, and I could understand why the people of Oakland would be annoyed with me and maybe not happy with me. But like I need a job, and this is what I wanted to. This is the only thing I feel like I can do. Why would that have been so tough? I mean, you should have heard him. I thought about sending the audio and then going, let's do this, but I just didn't want to. No one
Ryan's
knows the
pulling
guy.
it right now if you want it.
Sure, I guess. Yeah. I guess, yeah, Summer. But but I didn't want to just like start going in on a guy. It was just awful. He had thought about it too, and he was gonna, and it's like a motivational thing. It's awful. There's not a hint of sincerity in it. Not a hint of sincerity in it. Awful. It's not hard. Everyone loved you in Oakland. You expressed that you were such a part of the community. You kind of took advantage of it.
They were a perfect game, didn't he, John?
Well, I don't know who it is we're talking about.
Dallas Braden.
Oh, Dallas Braden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect game. He got into it with A-Rod. A-Rod ran across the mound on him once.
He grew this big old
Yeah.
beard. I know. And Dallas Braden into a perfect game, right?
But the start of that, what a strange accusation to make that because somehow he moved with the team and is working for the team in a different town now that he's selling out.
Well, put it in context that if you pitched for the team and the reason you got the Oakland job in the first place is because you're like this huge pillar of the community and you're someone who like represents Oakland, didn't represent the Athletics, was like a huge part of Oakland and talked about how you had this like incredible love of the city and you would, this is like the greatest place you've ever lived. Of course there's going to be people like upset at you when they're furious with the team for moving and they hate the owner and you're a part of that. Of course they're going to be upset with you. Now, is there an answer to that question? Yes. What is it? The truth. I wanted to stick. I like this job. I need to work. What else am I going to do? I can understand why you're all upset at me. I can understand if the people in Oakland are annoyed with me, and like when I go back, if they're going to be pissed off at me, and that's a shame because I do love them. Just any. Yeah. It's not a hard question to answer.
No,
it's just if any kind of reasonable, realistic response, and then the least you could do would just go, well, I don't like the guy, instead of this like kind of quasi. You don't get it. I'm super. I've sacrificed so much to the game. Shut up. Yeah. You didn't have to go in. Just admit that you understand why people would be pissed off at you. Yeah, it's not hard.
And you would have taken 10 seconds or 15 seconds to answer the question instead of a 5 or 6 minute diatribe about how awesome you are.
Yeah, well, yeah, essentially it is. That's right, John. Essentially what it is how awesome he is. Yeah. And it's just and how hard he works, which I would contend he doesn't work hard at all. That being an ex-player doing color commentary, if you're working hard, you're a complete loser. You just got to sit there. And by the way, every Bay Area broadcast for baseball sucks. They all ugh.
Did you
see the guy playing catch? The San Francisco Giants showed a guy playing catch on the wharf, like out and back, like of the stadium. And he's smoking a cigarette, and they're like, look at him in there. He's smoking a heater. Like, yeah, he's smoking. Yeah, you did too. I don't get it. Like, yeah, he bought cigarettes at the gas station. Yeah. He's having one. He's smoking a heater. There. Yeah, he's smoking. It's unbelievable. Just like everyone's dad and mom did. All right, here are the headlines. Maybe we'll have that when we get back. Who knows? Who knows?
Sports Hub headlines presented by. thing on the Sports Hub.
Athletics games, and he moved. He made himself like he loved Oakland, and he was so loved Oakland. It was his home and all this stuff. And then when the Athletics moved, he moved with them. And you have to understand, the team moved with an owner that is like a piece of garbage. Like, he didn't even have a plan. Like, it's not like it's going to another city where they're loved. They're just, now they're in purgatory, and who knows where they'll end up. Is the question in this, Adam, or is it just the answer?
Just the answer.
All right. So he's asked, he says, they ask him essentially, do people feel like you're a sellout? And here's how he answers it.
To the folks that want to call me a sellout, you know what I say to you? I say, you're right. You want to know what I did? When I was 4 years old, I sold out to being the very best baseball player I could possibly be. Did I sell out? I sold out to Major League Baseball, and I sold out to the dream that I had and the dream that I shared a whole lifetime ago.
Yeah, he sold out when he was 4.
Yeah.
He gave all he could when he was 4.
It's Maynard James Keenan. I sold out long before you ever even knew my name.
Yeah, he sold out when he was 4 years old, before you even developed memory. That was when he decided that he was going to give it all to baseball. But right when he entered pre-kindergarten, like pre-nursery, he decided that was when he was going to really give it all up to baseball. And then he goes on and on and on. But he why didn't he just say, like, I understand what the thing is? And here is these Oakland, I don't like the Bay Area broadcasters. Here is in San Francisco, this is a guy, he is playing catch with someone on the wharf out in back of the stadium. They're playing catch. It's no big deal. And this is the hilarity that ensues from the broadcast team.
Meanwhile, out on the port walk,
guy's got a heater going.
Yeah, playing catch, having a schmag.
Working on his knuckleball. That's Joe Youngblood's old number.
Yeah, and then that goes on and on.
Having a schmang? Is that a
like? Wow! You don't say they're playing catch. That's crazy. And he's smoking a cigarette. That's nuts. No, if he's like freebasing cocaine and kicking a dead cat around, then you'd go, all right, well, now you got something.
Part of this is, too, and I think it's baseball. There's so much time to fill, and you're sitting there. There's nothing to look at on the field. You're watching your monitor. They show a guy having a catch, smoking a cigarette. You got to say something.
Oh, no. I'll give you a good example of that working is the famous, obviously, the Remy Orsillo thing when the guy threw the pizza.
Right.
And they're legitimately laughing. If it's that funny or deserves that kind of laugh or not, whatever, they're bored and they see it and they're like legitimately laughing. And a guy threw a piece of pizza at another guy. That doesn't happen often. That's not something you're supposed to do. Playing catch and smoking a cigarette. I don't even know why the cameraman or director alerted them to that.
Yeah, but they don't bust into like uproarious laughter either.
Meanwhile, out on the port walk,
guy's got a heater going.
Yeah, playing catch, having a schmag.
Working on his knuckleball. That's Joe Youngblood's old number.
Why doesn't NESN just station cameras out in front of Fenway and catch people vaping? And then whenever they have to kill time, they can just catch people vaping. Or they could go in the crowd and see if people are drinking. Again, I don't understand. They're playing catch out by a baseball game. He's not doing anything wrong. He's smoking and throwing a baseball. I don't even know why that was put on television. He's having a schmag, which is probably something horrendously offensive.
Never heard of that, but all right.
Yeah.
Now you've said it. Now you stepped in it.
Yeah, well, listen, it's like if you swear in Spanish and don't know it, you can't blame me.
Which reminds me, Ryan, there's one piece of audio that I sent you from last night. We need to listen to it, all the three of us, because I'm not sure what the gentleman says, and we're going to have to.
We were going through that already, but we could use the third set of ears.
Okay,
absolutely.
all right, good.
Yeah,
It just reminded me of something. I'm not sure what the phrase is, but we need to. We need to vet that.
All right. Well, if
you know who.
I'm a big cultural critic, and I was making a big deal about my day yesterday. I had a very busy day yesterday, And most of it, thankfully, all of it, thankfully, was without incident. But I do have my thoughts on the show that I saw last night, the concert that I saw last night, and we will have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Yesterday, I was talking about how I had a very busy day. I had to go to Taunton. My son had a baseball game where he was pitching, so I had to go because I don't want to miss him pitching. And there was a lot of consternation about getting there and getting back because I was going to see Tyler, the Creator, with my daughter at the Garden. And I am pleased to say that getting to Taunton and getting back from Taunton was a non-issue. There was no traffic either way.
Really?
Yeah. 24 coming back in 95 coming back was nothing.
Now,
Jeez.
what does 24 look like coming south when you were heading home?
Everything was terrible coming south.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awful.
But it wasn't going north. And, he pitched well, so that was good. That makes everything a lot easier because then all hell breaks loose.
Oh, good for Milo. That's great.
And so, that's not the point really, but he pitched well. So, but I actually, she was supposed to be there. I got up at like 12:15. I took like a 45-minute nap. I got up at 12:15. Left my house at like 12:25. My daughter was supposed to be in my house at 12:30. I got to my ex-wife's house around 12:30. Daughter's nowhere to be found. Around 12:40, I call her. I'm like, "You gonna go to my house?" And she's like, "I'm packing." She spent the night at my house last night, but and she has like school today. But but I don't know how much packing that requires. So I go to Tyler, the Creator. Now, Tyler, the Creator is someone who my daughter absolutely loves. I knew Odd Future. I remember when they got in trouble here. I know Loiter Squad. I've known about him for a very long time. I think he's talented. So we go to the Garden, and first of all, the merch line, again, these guys, I can't tell you how much money they make. It's absolutely insanity. It's absolute insanity. The hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in merch lines. And he has a brand called Golf. And when we got to the Garden, the traffic was terrible, so I just got out of the car like before the Garden, and there's by the movie theater this huge line. And my daughter's like, "Wow, there's a big line to get in the Garden." I'm like, There can't be. It's like 7 o'clock. The doors open at 6:30. There's no way there's a big line to get into the Garden. Sure enough, it wasn't. There was a stand for the Golf brand, and that was running probably 300 deep on the street.
Gosh.
Now, and I'm like, "Zoe, do you want anything from the Golf brand? Because I got nothing but time." I'm like, "Do you want anything from the Golf brand?" She's like, "No, I don't want anything from the Golf brand." So we go. And again, now this wasn't quite up to the status of Kendrick Lamar and SZA's line, which was almost unfathomable how fast they got through it. That was a stadium show, and they might have gotten through 500 people in like 15 minutes.
Whoa.
Like we were probably like 500th in line when we got into it. In like 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, we were through that thing. They were flying. Now they were pretty good at the Garden last night, and there you go, you get your stuff. And now I got to carry around a shirt for her brother, a shirt for her, and a sweatshirt. And I'm carrying all these things around. Now, Bird is there.
What? Oh, nice.
And our own Bird, and he texts me, because he hears that I'm going to be at the show. He texts me, he gets the set list for all three groups and a very intricate set list for Tyler, the Creator, including where he's going to be, what stage he's going to be on, when there's pyro. So, I'm with my daughter. So the people next to us are talking. I let them see. I let the people, and my daughter's talking to these girls in front of her. I let them see. I'm establishing myself as someone in the know. You see, I'm letting everyone know this ain't no regular dad fan with you. This is a man with his finger on the pulse of modern hip hop.
Right.
I've got connections.
You've got some cred out there.
Right. So the way that it is organized at first is Tyler, the Creator, on the stage side. Like we have really good seats. So stage side, but we're in the loge. I don't think he sold out general admission, and he plays again tonight. But the rest of the arena was sold out. So there was like these kind of like shipping crates that were green and had the name of the tour on it. Then in the middle of the arena, there was a small stage. So we're in the merch line. You hear music, and it's I forget what the name of the group was, but it's three guys. By the time we get to our seats, you know we're old because like we got pizza and like sat down and ate. Like imagine doing that at a concert.
You had napkins.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
That's a sure sign.
it's still like kind of embarrassing to get food at a concert. But I never used to go to when I was real little. I used to go to like see metal bands at arena rock shows. But Kendrick Lamar and SZA was the first time I'd ever been to a stadium show. I don't think I'd ever go to one again unless one of my kids. And it won't be Milo because he says he doesn't like concerts. But my daughter, he counts halftime shows at Thanksgiving games, concerts. He counts Jack Harlow like playing at halftime as a concert. It's pretty odd. And we saw LeAngelo Ball do a song like in between, like during a commercial break in an end zone.
Do you want me to tell him that doesn't count? I don't know if you want, as his father, you want to break it to him that doesn't count, but that doesn't count.
LeAngelo Ball.
Well, you know he doesn't like rock and roll. He told me.
Yeah,
and he
right.
used those words. So, you know, the first act is like three guys, and they're energetic and they're doing the best they can. There's no band or anything. They're in the middle of the thing, and they're good. The lights are kind of on. They're not giving much. This stage is small and it's in the middle. So out comes Lil Yachty. Now, Lil Yachty's got 45 minutes to play. Lil Yachty is a relatively big artist, like a pretty big artist. And in fairness to him, it's just him on the stage and with nothing else. Like there's no DJ, there's no lights. Really, it's just him. He comes out, the crowd goes ballistic. Yelling, screaming. And I'll tell you, never close to that level of energy again from the crowd. I put something on Instagram at Fred Dudger. He, again, another guy who had his songs playing in the background. What do you mean by that, Fred? He had his tracks with vocals playing in the background. And not low, and not like the chorus, like or other singing. The rap part. The rapping, and he goes, and then he's just standing there, and he goes, "Hey, you ever have to take a dump?" Right before the show, I had to take a dump, and I had to take this dump, and everyone's laughing, like chortling, and like he's got to take this dump, and he goes, "So if you're gonna get on," because he goes, during this tour, people have been getting on TikTok and saying I'm not a good performer. And I don't want to have happening tonight because I know that I want you all to know that I have to take a dump. So, like, he's not even moving. He's just standing there. And not in a gloomy, like, kind of emo way. Like, I'm just not doing anything. But then in between songs, he's, like, doing crowd participation. So, in one way, he's trying outside of the songs, and the other way he's doing nothing as a performance. It's still fascinating to me. Old man yells at cloud. No, it's not. Because I'll get to that. Because Tyler, the Creator, did not do that. Tyler, the Creator put on an effing show. And again, there's no Tyler, the Creator really hogged like all this stuff. He wasn't very cool to Lil Yachty in terms of what he gave him to do a show. But again, these three guys before him did what they could. Like, they were loud and they were like running around and stuff. Like that's all you really want. Their vocals appeared to be the vocals of the song. If they were just playing the regular song, I didn't know. It wasn't that obvious. But I'm telling you, this is the second time I've seen rappers at these shows that my daughter goes to where they're just standing there and the song with vocals is playing. It's kind of crazy. Now, don't even get Eddie Trunk started. He doesn't even like filler vocals. He hates it. So I'll tell you, Lil Yachty, whatever he made for that show, he did not earn. 45 minutes of just standing there is something else.
What did you expect?
Right.
Yeah.
So Tyler, the Creator, he's got pyro. Because all that shipping crates lift up. He's got a catwalk that walks him to that center stage. He's got like a living room set up. And what he did, which was kind of clever, is he had this like record bin on that little stage because it was like 8 songs of the show. He was on this little stage. It was supposed to be like his living room when he was growing up, and he's pawning through these going through these albums, and then he would pick up an old album of his and put it down, take the wax out, put it on a record player, and then he would do songs from that album. Like obviously the record's not really playing. But one interesting thing he did say is, so it starts off, it's like pyro and all this stuff, and he's like it's only him too. It's only him, for better or worse. It's only him. I really don't know why they don't at least have a DJ or do something.
There wasn't even an instrument on stage.
Yeah,
I know Eddie Trunk would have been furious, but I will give you this: Tyler Creator puts on a lot of money went into it. It was he's got a ton of energy. I'll give it to him, but he does stand on stage and he goes. It's the first thing he says all show. He's probably gone through 3 shows. He goes, "Hey Boston, this is by far the mother effing whitest city I've ever seen in my entire life." He goes, shouts out to the 16 black people here. And now look, does Tyler the Creator have like the blackest audience out of all? I would imagine most cities he goes to, it's a majority white audience. But to be fair, he might be right. There were 16 black people there. Like he might have had a very good point to be making there. He did say that. But he performs, and it was odd because the minute he got on stage, my daughter breaks down crying. She starts to weep. You can't even see him, but she starts weeping.
Oh boy!
Wow,
weeping with joy. And I told her before the thing, I'm like, look, you tape these shows. I'm like, when you take your phone out and you tape them. Have you ever gone back and watched any of these shows? And she's like, no. Exactly. And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't tape like everything. I don't care if she does it or not, but I'm like, maybe you shouldn't tape everything because maybe it keeps you like it keeps you one remove from the show. And she's like, yeah, you're probably right. Like I don't watch this stuff. And she taped the whole show. She taped everything. And she knows the song. She taped it. But when he said that there, shouts out to the 16 black people here, there was 2 black women next to us, and they got very excited. That was for them.
Oh.
That was for them. So I will say this: I don't know how long it can last. The guys like Tyler the Creator he could have as long a career as he wanted. It was kind of sad though because he was going through those records and he goes, these guys have a new album coming out. It was a group I've never heard of, and he goes, they're coming back after 15 years. These guys are like in their 50s. They have got great ball hair and stuff. You won't catch me making music when I'm 50. You guys won't want that. He was acting like this was, so far into the future that he would be creatively spent, and there's really no reason of doing anything after that age, which really puts you in your place.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel great.
No, I said, don't you realize there are so many kids here with their parents? Don't you understand that? Can't you figure that out? But I do have a question.
You're probably like, oh, these guys.
If you are a man in your 20s, do you get on your friend's shoulders at a Tyler the Creator show and so you can gain more attention from Tyler the Creator?
Oh, no, that doesn't sound like something you would do.
No, I don't think you would do that either. I would question that. That happened, and I could see that very plainly in front of me. I wondered why the guy had got it on the other guy's shoulders. I don't know what you want out of the dude. He's supposed to point at you and go, congratulations that you have this guy that just kind of carries you around. Because I told you this story of me at WrestleMania 3. Or before WrestleMania 3, we were at a house match, WWE match, WWF. And there was this huge dude next to us. And he goes, like, you want to come on my shoulders? And I'm like, nah. And my dad's like, yeah, let him put him on your shoulders. And he let a stranger pick me up and put me on his shoulders. And I still don't know what really happened there, but I remember it not fondly.
You've blocked it out. And that's not good.
I sometimes wonder. Well, I didn't block it out. I remember what the guy.
Have you kept in touch?
He was like probably. I was little, so who knows? But my dad was like 6 feet tall and fat. So this guy was way bigger than my dad and with a big beard. And I remember that. But he picked me up. My dad let him pick me up and put me on his shoulders. Now, you would think just by being a man, my dad was probably 40 years old. Probably 40, if that. He might have been 39, 38. Let this guy... Wouldn't you want to put your kid on your own shoulders?
You're not going to let a stranger do it.
Yeah,
that's weird.
That's emasculating.
Well, but if it was my mom, it would even make more sense that you just because you couldn't do it. But like my dad could have put me on his shoulders. He let another guy do it.
Yeah,
because he was too. I don't know what it was. Like he didn't want to upset the guy. The guy wanted me on his shoulders. I think the guy might have been at the thing alone. And my dad's just like, hey,
much
creep.
better.
Just like looking for a kid that needed a shoulder ride.
Hey, creep alone at the wrestling thing. Adult at the wrestling thing by yourself. Do you want to put my son on your shoulders?
Jeez.
So every time I see that, I don't like that. It brings back some memory. I don't know if the memory is because I thought my dad of being weak at the time or if I thought him being highly irresponsible.
Big guy touched me.
I have thought in the past that maybe that's what.
Yes.
Oh, I've made that correlation before. I've made that correlation in my head before.
Absolutely.
In fact, when we played that audio after that drinking game, that's a drinking game we used to do at the WBCN show, where we get hammered, and then we did it once and it was pretty funny. We did it twice, it was pretty funny. By the 15th time, Crash and I had to step in and go, hey, maybe we, like we're not doing this anymore. Because not only is it horrible to come to work the next day, it also isn't funny anymore. Yeah, I get it. We're drunk. Like, no more, okay? So Crash and I had to put our feet down. No more.
Imagine that. You and Crash would say no more.
Care Bears trying to cry.
Well, for some of us, it was a little more difficult than others because, you know, some of us were actually getting blacked out drunk every time and, having to function the next day.
Was it all of you?
Look. There was a belief at one point that people had magic metabolisms and they didn't get hungover, but I don't think you can get blacked out drunk 15 times and never have a hangover the next day. I don't care how old you are or what kind of shape you're in.
Oh.
I don't believe so. I mean, I've seen high school kids with hangovers. I mean, if that's possible, certainly when you're in your 30s, you're getting a hangover.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it certainly was never true of me. The first time I ever drank and got drunk, I was super hungover the next day. 15 years old. So, there you go. I just question, at least the crowd didn't like Little Yachty. At least they weren't into it anymore. Like, if they would have been super into it the whole time, because all you're doing is reacting, it might as well be a jukebox. Like, it might as well just be them playing music over the PA.
There wasn't even an instrument on stage.
No reason to send them out there at this point.
And then we had got a cab home because I had to pay the guy cash and probably more than it was worth. But the guy, he was telling me how he's a big Blackie Lawless fan. He was a big Wasp fan.
Oh.
Because he was telling about his own concert experiences as a young man and how he used to go. He saw Kiss 60 times. But
Mingles is driving a cab now?
Wow.
No way. Mingles is retired. Mingles driving a cab.
I don't know anyone else who's seen Kiss 60 times.
Oh, you think that Mingles would drive a cab?
Yeah.
Get out of here. There's like a job where you could just smoke weed and just cruise to great tunes all day. Mingles would never do that. All right. When we come back, we will talk about sports. Your Boston Red Sox are on a big streak here, and we'll get into that and talk about what lies in the future in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
in vodka after work on Thursday at Coogan's, a neighborhood classic Irish pub on Milk Street in Boston on the outskirts of Faneuil Hall. We'll be there from 6 till 8 with giveaways from Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older to participate. Enjoy responsibly.
Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
You keep looking up. The whip is up because of the walks. The area is going down. They hit that ball hard, right, to the triangle. So don't make the play.
The games you got to play. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but that's true. You win the games that you win.
Yeah, you can only play who's on the schedule.
Right. So there's a game out of the wild card right now, and that's obviously a time that they're not going to win that division, but you can, they're not going to win the division. Let's be honest. But you're a game out of the wild card with the third wild card spot, and they're only a game and a half out of the second spot, and they're really only 3 games out ahead of the number 1 wild card spot. So they're certainly in position to make the playoffs again. So they have done enough to put themselves in position to make the playoffs. Now, so you can't sell. Totally. Now, are we all under agreement that they got to get rid of Duran? Like if it makes sense, you're going to get the most value for him right now, and now it is when you get rid of him?
Yeah, if you look at it from 1,000 feet up, Duran was the All-Star Game MVP last year. He had a mammoth season, but considering what the Red Sox have done with him over the last 2 weeks, they took him out of the leadoff spot in the order. They're hitting him 7th against lefties. They're going to probably bench him today against a right-handed pitcher. I mean, that's the story of today, even though there's a righty pitching for Colorado tonight. Masataka Yoshida is back. Apparently, Roman Anthony's going to play left field. Wilyer Abreu, who is their best power hitter, sat last night, so he's going to play again this evening. And Ceddanne Rafaela is on fire, both defensively and offensively in center field. So I think that Duran's going to sit against a righty tonight. So it's a long-winded way of me saying the Red Sox don't think too highly of him. I bet you they do trade him by the end of the month.
Right, and so they won't be able to just do that, and maybe they could even trade him for major league talent. Like they could try to get some major league talent in return for him. So that doesn't necessarily mean they're selling. I mean, they have a surplus with Duran. A team would really like him, and we'll get into that. But we'll get back to that. Just one quick thing while we're talking about it. John and I were talking about a story we had both read. I think the play-by-play guy for the Red Sox had pointed out.
Yeah, Will Fleming. Yes.
Will Fleming, who is a very polarizing figure. He had said that, did you hear? While you had Devers there in San Francisco, and while they were playing Boston in that weekend series right after he got there, Will Clark, who I couldn't stand as a player, boy, could I not stand him.
He was the epitome of a try-hard, Will Clark.
Oh,
yes,
just hate. And he was on the Cardinals one year, and he
really
had a good
player,
playoffs.
really good player. But
but he drove me crazy. I didn't even like him on the Cardinals, and so apparently he had, he was a first baseman. Apparently he had gone out to first base with some balls, and wouldn't you know it, Devers didn't show up. Now, what do you mean, like? They were scheduled to meet at noon at a field in the area, and he had totally shined on him. What happened? No. Before the San Francisco game, on the field in San Francisco, Will Clark meandered out to first, and Devers didn't go out there. Now, that alone, it isn't. That's not throwing. Whatever. It's going to sound like I'm just defending Devers just all the time, but again, that's not like he wasn't showing up to spring training, or like he wasn't showing up. There was a time before the game, like probably during infield or maybe before infield, that early in the day that Will Clark was out at first, and the whole story was he didn't show up. Well, John, what is the reasoning for him not showing up? The
reasoning, as I understand it, was that first base is about 20 feet from the Red Sox dugout, so he didn't want to take grounders at first in front of his old teammates.
But, John, you have to understand, if he doesn't take grounders at first for that 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 10 minutes before that game where he's not playing first base, the whole scheme is out the window. I mean, he's completely given up on the team. Look, maybe he is the most difficult guy to deal with in the world all of a sudden. Maybe San Francisco regrets that they ever made that deal. I don't know why they would. They didn't give anything up for him. But that's not that's a real. The headline of that is that he blew off like something. Yeah. Get out, guys! Stop that! Stop that! You've all been to games before. You've all been to parks before games. It's a free for all. Half those guys aren't even taking infield. There's pitchers in the outfield shagging flies, or they're not. I mean, they all have routines. Stop it. Will Clark walked out to first base.
It really only kind of matters if you believe the original narrative, which is when he went to San Francisco, he was going to be a changed guy, and he was going to do everything that was expected of him. And the management there and the front office people in San Francisco wouldn't allow for anything less than that. So it was going to be just going to be a whole new situation for him and the team on both counts. So if you believe that, then you would also have to believe he would leap at any opportunity to do something like that, even if it doesn't seem necessary, Fred. I understand what you're saying before a game. It's like, no, it's a free-for-all. Everyone's doing whatever they want. But I never believed that original narrative anyway.
Well, I got to ask you, what's Will Clark's job with the team, and how is it a big deal that Will Clark's standing at first base? He's not the manager, and so Will Clark is at first base. Fine, Will Clark is at first base. And maybe he said, hey, Rafi, do you want to come out here and, hang out at first base for a few minutes? It's, again, he didn't, blow off-season workouts or – it's not as bad as when he came into the season fat. It's not even as bad as not agreeing to play first base for the Red Sox. It's not as bad as balking at DHing. It's not any of that. It's just because when I first read it, I went, oh, maybe I was wrong about Devers. Maybe they had this private workout schedule.
The headline reels you in, which is what it's supposed to do.
And you think, wow, what a dick. Wow, this guy's out of control.
First thing I thought of.
He's not he's blowing off all this stuff. It just sounds to me like Will Clark walked out to first base with a couple baseballs. It was I can kind of walk you around my experience at the position.
Yeah.
And Devers just didn't happen to walk out at that time. If Devers blew off batting practice or Devers didn't show or it's late to the park, these are all things that would be concerning. But it just sounds like no one knows what goes on. In the beginning of this stuff, they're just dicking around out there.
And the other
it's not serious work before a game.
Right. And the other part of this is, if you've looked, and I will admit, after the Red Sox left San Francisco, I stopped looking. He still hasn't played a game at first. He's been a DH for the 21 games he's been there. So it looks more and more like if he will play first base, it won't be until much later this season, or they'll attack it like they should at the beginning of spring training next year in Arizona. And if they're going to make him a first baseman, that's when they'll do it.
Well, I think we should just all suppose they're desperate for him to play first base and that he's just telling them no. All right, so it leads us to, all right, so look, the Red Sox are well within striking distance of the playoffs. They are not a team that should be wholesale selling. So let's look at the trade deadline and who's available. And this is just according to The Athletic, and you can take it for what it's worth. Jarren Duran is the number one trade target. He would get, according to this, fetch the most. And thereby, if you're the Red Sox, you can sell and buy at the same time with him, you would think. You would think that if a team has a glut of starting pitching or something like that and they were willing to maneuver in that way, you could do it. Number two is Alex Bregman. They're not getting rid of him. Nor would I. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. John, the number 3 player is Seth Lugo.
pitcher for Kansas City.
Right,
Yep.
and he is controlled through the end of this year. Would you give anything up for him?
If you could swing a deal, and Lugo has been very good for Kansas City. If you could somehow convince Kansas City to take Duran and bring me back Lugo, I'd do that in a second.
Oh, if you could bring back Lugo for Duran, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
What would have to happen is that you would make a separate trade with Kansas City where you were giving up, prospects in your future for a rental starting pitcher.
I would not for this team.
And other teams are going to outbid you for him if he's available at all. It's debatable if he's even available. So, again, if you would have retained any of that salary for Devers, you could have gotten players back that would play for you in exchange for Rafael Devers. Again, the notion of that they're going into the trade deadline and now they have all this money. Money's not the issue. The issue's not money. The issue is giving up your future and future assets to retain to get back players when you could have gotten back players already. That's the issue. If money was the issue, still get rid of Devers, keep some of the salary, and get something back for him.
I mean, how about having the same guys play the same position night after night instead of throwing together a bunch of spare parts and moving them all around day after day after day?
By the way, Abreu is the number 7 available guy.
Wilyer Abreu?
Yeah, they're not going to get rid of him.
No. It's Gold Glover, who's actually hitting really well.
So I won't go through the whole thing, but let's put it this way. No one's available. No one's available. There's no one that you want that's available. You want Ozuna to be DH for you?
That would be one bat. I mean,
but are you going to pick up a DH whose contract's expiring? Are you going to give up future assets for him?
The only thing, and Brezel will say this, I'm sure, at least 4 times between now and the trade deadline, we're looking for someone with term. We're not looking for a rental at this point because this team is nowhere close to championship caliber. This team is nowhere close to 90-win caliber. This team is hoping a backdoor playoff spot with 84 wins.
You could bring in Albies to play second for you because that's a big position of need. You could give up a lot, and you could have him as your second baseman through 2027, even though you have a glut of people that can play middle infield for you.
It's working with smoke and mirrors right now.
I'm just telling you that and Aroldis Chapman is 19th on this. And so I'm just telling you that it's relief. Basically, the players that you would be dealing for if you were going to acquire players at the trade deadline, where there's going to be a ton of competition, are relief pitchers. That's essentially what you would be getting. So you gave up Devers and got nothing in return, and then you would give up assets to get what? Depth relief pitching?
No.
It just goes back to the notion that the trade deadline isn't this thing where you can just pick up incredible talent all the time. And by the way, neither is free agency the next 2 years. Go ahead.
Real quick, if they're smart, and I've thought about this, they'll trade Chapman this month because there's no reason to have a relief pitcher, even if he's an all-star, in his late 30s for this team right now. And this would appeal to management because you're dumping a salary. Hopefully you get back a prospect in return that can contribute for you in the next year or two for cheap. There's no reason to have Aroldis Chapman as your closer.
See, I don't know if you're this close to I disagree because I don't know if you're this close to the playoffs if you can give up a dominant closer.
Maybe not, but I mean, you can plug and play with a bunch of different relievers.
I wouldn't, John. I don't think you can. I mean, if you're a game out of the wild card and look, you're not winning the division, but you're very firmly not even the third wild card. It's not like the first. You're in the mix, like for all 3 of those wild card spots.
You wouldn't necessarily miss him in the playoffs should you get there, but it's the run leading up to the playoffs where you would desperately.
I think that you would miss him in the playoffs too. I think you would miss Chapman in the playoffs.
I think the closer gets less and less important once you get to the postseason because the rotations get so funky and the guys who are brought in and the amount of pitches that are thrown, it changes.
Well, no, you use more relievers. I mean, I would think that you would I don't think the way you
it is starters on off days give you innings in the middle of the game. If your starter does not, that's the way Cora's managed it anyway.
Fine, but you still have to use it. You still want a closer in a closing situation.
But ideally, you don't need that lights out closer if you're using multiple starters in a game because you've got enough of a cushion.
I know.
Where you don't need
If the game's within 3 runs and you are if you're up and it's the 9th inning,
Fred's
you're pitching your
Fred's
closer.
right about that. When you get to that point, closers are more important. But my whole point is this team isn't going anywhere.
No, I get your point, but
I'm just explaining this to Hardy.
Right.
It's not.
You don't need to mansplain it to me, John.
I'm
I'm saying that analytically, over the years, the closer becomes less important in the postseason than they are in the regular season.
That might be very true, but I don't think they're in any position to give up.
I'm being wall-explained. Jesus
You're
Christ.
being bird-splained. All right, nonsense. They don't like it so much.
I think he's confused about the logistics of a prison wedding.
Don't tell me what I already know. I've watched about 12 hours of Felice Johnson interviews, and the guys interviewing them, they draw a line.
They're sociologists. They have questions for it.
No, they want to make it sure that they're not gay for talking to this guy.
Invitations.
Yeah, to come to the wedding.
In prison.
In prison.
With a prison wife.
With a prison wife.
That you gonna marry in prison.
In prison.
You send out invitations.
Yeah. My prison wife got ready for the wedding.
Hold on. Invitations. Who y'all send the invitations to?
To all the inmates and to some people that work, sir. Case workers, wardens, and...
Again, Felice Johnson is not a homosexual on the outside.
No, he's just in love.
I knew you were going to
Getting married.
What are you doing? Sorry, I didn't know you had a clip in there. You can play it again. I didn't know you had a clip in there.
Going to the chapel and we're gonna
getting married. I said, you want to get married?
Well done.
And sometimes I don't believe we would have this clip, but there is a point in interviews where he'll get sweet on the man that's interviewing him and say, if we were in jail, I would like you. Much to the consternation of the guy interviewing him, because again, the guy interviewing him is decidedly not gay. He's just fascinated with the gay sex going on. And but Felice, again, that would only be in prison. Outside of prison, no interest in having sex with men. All right.
And now that he's out of prison, again, important to note that these are post-confinement interviews that are taking place, and he's adopted, let's just say, maybe a more traditional lifestyle, but, some things remain the same, Fred.
I know you're married now to a woman, but do you miss prison?
No, I miss booty. That's what I miss, booty. First piece of sex I had was booty. Don't forget, I went into prison, man. I was in jail at 14, turned 15 in jail, hit prison at 16. I growed up in the penal system. But when I got introduced to some booty...
I like how he says penal system.
I growed up in the penal system.
Yeah.
It's not penal, but...
No, penal.
That would be too gay to say penal.
Sure, he's avoiding.
And he's not gay.
No,
he's married to a woman.
Right.
Not gay.
To a woman.
I growed up in the penal system. But when I got introduced to some booty, hey, it was fire too, boy. Made me close my eyes, man, when I... And, yes, my wife would see this. But I already told her, honey, I love you. And she knows I love her. And I never cheat on her, which I won't. But I tell her the truth. I miss booty. And she don't do the booty thing, but that's why I miss it. I need some butt.
Professor, what's another word for pirate treasure?
Well, I think it's
booty. Booty. Booty.
That's what it is.
Contact me, please.
Now, what I'm going to say is this. That Felice Johnson is gay.
What? Oh, no.
Yes. and that he is married to a woman because he feels that's what society wants out of him. If you're married
to a woman.
Yeah. If you're married to a woman and you're still fantasizing about having sex with men,
Nah, Miss Booty.
And you pretend your wife's a man.
That's what I miss, booty.
I'm no psychiatrist, nor do I want to make any grand statements, but Fleece Johnson's gay.
I miss it. I need some butt.
And what a romantic, too. I mean, that's the kind of guy you knew who had a present wedding. He loves butt. But
you won't get married?
He loves butt.
I miss it. I need some butt. But I tell her the truth. I miss booty. So I'm telling you this, and I brought this to my wife's attention. If there's anybody out there that can help me on some booty, contact me, please. Can you do that for me? The booty man? Can you contact my manager and let him know that you got send out some pictures of? I want to see what you got.
Yeah, so he's telling the audience.
I just want to contact my manager.
To contact his manager. Now look.
Booty. Booty. Fire too, boy.
So he's not gay, remember. He's married to a woman.
Sure.
But he's saying contact his management team if you have a nice booty. You would like to see a picture of it at least.
But I tell her the truth. I miss booty.
If you're married to someone,
contact me, please.
And they're doing a round of interviews where
Can you
they're
do it for me?
where they're begging the public to send their manager pictures of their
send
asses.
out some pictures of. I want to see what you got.
So that they can have gay sex with them. That would be a bit of a red flag. I don't mean to speak out of school, but that would be a red flag to me that you are indeed still a homosexual or always have been a homosexual.
Made me close my eyes, man.
So Fleece Johnson's a funny one, but now that Fleece Johnson is a part of my life, I have now really reached an algorithm where it's just, and none of these guys, Fleece is a bit of a hero because at least he admits to doing it. Like now all it is that people interview dudes that talk about like how they witness things and it was like this brutal stuff. And I don't even know if they're telling the truth. But all I want to know is we've gotten to a point. I don't want to know it. I know it. We've gotten to a point where there's so much podcasting that for every Fleece Johnson that you get, which is obviously an entertaining guest, there's 7,000 guys. So now when dudes do something terrible, end up in jail for 20 years, witness these like heinous rapes and murders, they go on podcasts and everyone profits from them like telling tales. And by the way, they're not like innocent bystanders. These guys are all people that were involved in it. Now, they never admit to having the gay sex, but they knew people that did.
Sure.
And were in gangs where it happened, but they were never involved in it. So we've reached the point now with interviews and podcasting where there is a subgenre of at least probably 1,000 of these interviews with just dudes that just happen to be in prison that are, basically like glamorizing how tough they were because of all the rapes that they witnessed. It's not good. It's not good at all. Like Fleece Johnson's a sweet old man. He just loves booty. He's obviously.
I need some butt.
I mean, he got. I take back what I said about him raping. Maybe he didn't. I mean, he sounded like he was getting married and things like that.
You won't get married.
But there is a story that he had a good friend, a platonic friend in prison. The story doesn't make a lot of sense, and I didn't want to influence what you guys put in there, but this story doesn't make a lot of sense. He said he has a platonic male friend in prison.
Oh.
And something happened. It was his birthday or something, and the guy liked him so much that he said, "Come into this room with me."
Nice.
And his gift to him was his booty. So Fleece had the man's booty. He enjoyed it, and I can only imagine the man. I mean, the man offered it to him.
Made me close my eyes, man.
Yeah, and it was a sweet booty, according to Fleece. And but then I don't like this about Fleece. Then the guy, like the next day, was like, "Hey, like we got this business thing that we have to handle, like with the drug trade or something." And Fleece said, "Oh no, no. Now that you have given me your booty, now we can no longer be in business together. For you are my lady."
Right, you can't mix the relationship with business.
Yeah, and he said it devastated the man. He did. No, I'm not making any of this up. Yeah, he said it devastated the man. He said the man was like, "What do you mean we can't do business anymore?" He said, "Well, you gave your booty to me." I mean, that's a handshake agreement that this relationship, business-wise, is done.
Can you do it for me?
So there you go, Fleece Johnson. You won't have trouble finding him. It's about 23 hours of archival interview footage of Fleece Johnson. But he's the sweetest guy that you'll hear talk about this stuff. And no pun intended, but it's the sweetest guy. All right, so Jay King will be joining us in just a moment.
I said, you won't get mad.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Thank you to Drew and KP and Luke for all that they gave here and all that they meant here. You know, I think I could go into great detail on each of them, but Drew being here for 2 years, KP being here for 2 years, obviously had a huge impact, not only on our team, but on the city and the community and everything else. And Luke being here a little bit longer than that, same thing.
He joins us. Jay, thank you. I know you're in Vegas. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, this is real love. Get up at 5:25 for you guys.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. But are you still at all on East Coast time?
If you ever went to bed, you crazy guy. You.
It's my first day here, so I'm kind of still on East Coast time. So it's not that bad.
All right. Listen, a lot's being said about this Damian Lillard situation, that he could end up with Boston. What are you hearing about that? Would he be at all interested? Are the Celtics interested? How would that work?
As my colleagues at The Athletic said, the Celtics are one of many teams with interest. They're in a weird situation right now, obviously, because they don't really have any money to spend. And money probably won't be the number one factor for him. He's going to get paid a lot of money from the Bucks anyway after they stretched his contract. And so that might not be a factor in his decision. If it is, it could rule out the Celtics. We've already seen Luke Cornett walk out the door because Celtics couldn't offer him as much money as he got from San Antonio. Al Horford.
Hauser is a very tradable contract, but it looks like he's staying put. That was the real shocking thing.
Yeah, look, and they don't want to dump contracts just to dump contracts. Obviously, you have to do some painful stuff to get under the second apron, which they still haven't done yet, but they can do with some very minor maneuvering at this point. They're about $332,000 above the second apron. The bigger question is whether they can get out of the luxury tax entirely. And that would have real benefits, because if you get out of it and stay out of it for 2 straight years, you reset the repeater tax. And the repeater tax is the big, really penalizing tax that you get if you've been in the tax for too many years, and it's boring and all that stuff. But I think if they can do that without, having to dump too many salaries and trade too many picks to dump those salaries, then they'll want to do that. But right now it seems as if they haven't found the right prices to dump those contracts, and Brad is giving off every indication that he's okay with going into the season with the roster similar to what it is right now. And I think that would be a little disappointing to the Celtics, I think, to not get out of the tax. But we'll see. Bill Chisholm hasn't given them a mandate to get out of the tax, and right now they're finding the cost just too high to dump those contracts.
So Al Horford, according to Brad Stevens yesterday, is not going to be back next season. You lost Luke Cornett, and you signed Luka Garza, who is not a starting center. Who are the bigs on this team if this is the roster he's going to go with this coming fall?
Yeah, it's going to be Nimi. It's going to be Luka Garza. Aren't you guys excited? David Tillman?
Yeah. I remember, Garza was a big-time star at Iowa. What are we talking about
National
here?
Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's played like 900 minutes in his NBA career. So, yeah, that front court is totally unproven guys. And the talent drain they've had is just really, really going to be painful for them. They've already lost, including Jason Tatum, who will miss, if not the whole year, most of it. They've lost 2 other starters in Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They've lost Luke Cornett and Al Horford, 2 of their better big men. They've lost a ton of defensive talent. They've lost all their rim protection. They've lost every veteran big man they actually played, and they're going to be seeing what Nimi and Luka Garza can do. Will that be perfect? I don't think so, but they like what Garza has done in limited time. And in Minnesota, he never really got a chance. He was behind Rudy Gobert. He was behind Karl Towns and Julius Randle. He was behind Naz Reid. It was just a very, very tough situation for him to earn any playing time. When he's been on the court, he's been super productive, one of the better offensive rebounders in basketball, really fills it up on a per-minute basis as a scorer. Defense, definitely an issue, and their defense, like, as things stand right now, their defense is going to take a huge, huge hit. But yeah, get ready for the Nemi and Luka Garza era, boys.
The defense is something that I think Joe Mazzulla has been particularly protective of going back a couple of seasons now when it looked like they weren't playing as intensely as they could. So how do you think he's going to handle that if, in fact, he has dealt a blow personnel-wise where they're going to be hampered on defense? How does he react to that? How does he respond?
Yeah, this is going to be a big test for his coaching, I think, because they've had a top 5 defense in each of his 3 seasons, but they've also had some of the best defensive personnel in the league. The Derek White, Drew Holiday backcourt was just phenomenal. They've had, all their bigs were just great defenders. And now it's not going to be like that. They're going to have to play younger guys. They might have to play Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, Hugo Gonzalez. Anthony Simons, if he stays on the roster, is like one of the worst defenders in basketball, has graded out that way by some of the advanced metrics throughout his career in Portland. So it's going to be a huge test for his coaching. I do think he's a great defensive coach. The numbers bear that out, and the way guys talk about him bear that out. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have a lot of holes to cover that he's never had to cover before.
If this roster winds up being the roster that Joe Mazzulla has to coach, is this a playoff team?
So I would lean no, just because it feels like they're 1 or 2 injuries from the whole thing toppling over. I think if they're healthy, if everybody's available, then yeah, this group will make the playoffs. This group would have a chance to surprise some people. You still have some really good proven players with Derek White, Jaylen Brown. I would throw Peyton Pritchard into that mix. Sam Hauser's done a lot of good things for them. Simons, though I just ripped apart his defense, he's been a very good offensive player. Niang's been part of some really good teams. He knows how to play a role. But their front court has a chance to be really bad. And
it's an interesting way of phrasing it, Jay.
Yeah.
No nonsense there.
They got a chance to be awful.
Yeah.
Chance to be really, really bad. And then it just feels like, if you lose Jaylen Brown, if you lose Derek White for a significant portion of time, then you're playing really young guys. Your front court's not going to be able to bail you out with rim protection, everything like that. So it just feels like this is a very fragile group right now.
All right, and is there anything that they can do in the meantime? Are there any fixes, or are you playing for next year?
You're just kind of playing for next year, and that was clear by the second apron caused them to trade away 2 starters for guys that that they then tried to flip and are still considering flipping for further salary relief. And so this hasn't been about maximizing next season. They were always going to have to shed some payroll because of the way the collective bargaining agreement is. But the day Jason Tatum went down, things changed a little bit, and you have to change your perspective and look at next season as Brad Stevens, he called it a retooling year. And yeah, they're taking a step back to try to position themselves better for the future. But I think next year it's not going to be like it has been these last 3 years.
All right. So what's going on in Vegas? Who are you there to see?
It's going to be awesome, guys. Summer Celtics, Hugo Gonzalez, Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, Kenneth Lofton Jr. It's going to be great.
Lofton might be fun to watch because he's about 300 pounds, right?
He's so much fun. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I don't know if you guys remember. This was like 2 years ago when Wembanyama was coming up. It was Wembanyama versus Chet Holmgren, and it was billed as like one of the best youth matchups in a long time for the gold medal game in I think it was the U18 FIBA competition. And Kenneth Lofton just dominated Wembanyama and led Team USA to victory. And he's never really gotten a chance in the NBA. When he did get a chance, he scored 42 points in one game. He's a super gifted scorer, but his physique has kind of held him back a little bit.
Yeah, he's a very large individual. Very large.
All right.
Yeah, as somebody put it yesterday, he's built like I am.
Well, you're lucky that you're able to, go out there and they're paying for it. That doesn't happen all the time anymore.
It's a beautiful thing. I get to be out here in Vegas for a week away from my family, and
God bless, Jay. Good for you.
I miss them so much already, man.
That's right. I mean, I hope you brought a lot of pictures and frames that you could put around your.
And only 109 there today, so you're in good shape. That's actually pretty decent weather for this time of year.
Yeah, it's so hot, man. Just sweltering.
All right. Well, look, Jay King, he'll be out there in Vegas. Get all your recordings there, all your dispatches there. We appreciate the time as always, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
Jay.
All right, take it easy. We'll be right back. Here are the headlines.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone. He had a staycation. It's very exciting for him. And there's a lot of very boring things on here.
You're going to need him in the studio for this because he's going to need to let you know which things he actually did.
Okay. Well, I mean, you don't need me to tell him to come in.
Oh, he's got a renewed pep in his step. Post-vacation, look at him.
Now, are we guessing things that didn't happen or things that did happen?
No, these are all things. You're each going to take a turn. Just pick any square and ask Nick if that's something he did, and he will tell you if he did or he did not. And if he did, then you can check off that square on your bingo sheet, and we'll see who gets bingo first from Nick's vacation.
Okay. Who wants to go? I'll go first. Day drinking.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
How many days out of the time you were there?
Probably 2 days. Probably around 4th of July.
How long were you gone?
Like a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said 2 days. I'm going 6 days. But yes. Okay. So day drinking. All right. Go ahead. You're next, Hardy.
Okay. I've mapped this out, so I'm doing this strategically. Got yelled at by Brittany.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah, but that's just that's just normal. I mean, yeah, you got a kid. All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
Did you call or text your father?
No.
Yeah.
I know you didn't. You got time to argue.
No.
Damn right you didn't.
But he did. He texted me. I just forgot to return.
Of course you forget. You always forget your father. You forget until it's too late. And then I'll never be able to return you. You won't even be there. Nicholas. You're
sorry.
keeping Luigi from me. We're not even Italian.
Was your dad? Did you ever follow up with him about you guys not being Italian?
We did, yeah. Yeah, we did.
What was his excuse?
Did he not believe it?
He doesn't believe it.
No, he thinks you are Italian. He thought.
To his grave, he's saying he's Italian, or we're Italian.
That's just like when the Sebastian, who was a guest on this show, when we told his mom that he had donated sperm like 5 million times because he was in Mensa, and everyone wanted his sperm, and his mom was just like, no. And we're like, no, he has. And she's just like, no. Like, it's funny that just parents sometimes just, no. You're like, no, it's true. You're just like, no. Like, no, that's wrong. All right. I have no, I don't care about winning. Well, so call or text or dead is on here several times, so I just do that. Okay, well, this has got to be text. Okay, I'm just going to say text from Rick Radzik, our boss.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. when Mr. Slate rings that bell, I avoid the phone. Nick, you enjoy yourself. Put your feet up. That's a staycation. When you come back, 50% chance you'll have a job.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just.
We're under the gun here, my friend. We are under the gun.
You never know.
You never know. Fred, that sounds just like Fred Norris's Baba Booey. You are absolutely correct.
That's right. At any point during your vacation, Nick, did you go to the movies?
No, I did not.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a cultural activity in his house.
He's too young to bring to the movies.
That's right.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. No kid wants to see a cartoon. All right, go ahead, there, Jonathan.
Did you get a text from Bird?
No.
You did it.
I got a text from Bird yesterday from him giving me the set list to all the bands, including the Pyro and what stage Tyler, the Creator, would be on. I'm better friends with Bird. And then I saw him on the way out, and we hugged.
That was really nice of him.
Yeah.
He just had a copy of the set list and just...
Yeah, we talked about it at 6. Thanks for listening. But I did... he did, and I got to act like a hotshot around everyone because I said if I'd hear someone talking about something, like pointing to something, and I'd be like, oh, I have the whole set list, including when Pyro comes out, what stage he's going to be on.
Yeah.
And they were like, how'd you get this? And I'm like,
that stuff is
Don't worry
also
about
available online.
not what stage he's going to be on and when the Pyro's going off is not. Yes, set lists are available very easily online.
Yeah.
But not that day's show where he's going to be standing when explosives are going to be going off.
And whatnot.
If you can find me a list of wherever of the Garden show tonight and when the Pyro's going off and everything else, I would like to see it. Nick.
Okay.
You
I'm
piece of garbage. Sorry. Are you next?
No, Hardy's next.
Did Luigi have a meltdown? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
These are like that's like a lame one. All right.
Now it's me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you have an anxiety attack, Nick?
Yeah. Daily.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
You didn't have an anxiety attack. You didn't have a daily anxiety attack.
Oh, I feel like
you might have felt anxious. You didn't have a panic attack.
That's two different things.
That's
An
true.
anxiety attack is a panic attack.
No, it's not.
No,
Different things.
no, I did not. I did not have a.
Describe an anxiety attack to me.
A panic attack is almost a complete shutdown for most people that suffer from them. An anxiety attack is just an amplified version of that anxiety that can sometimes hang out in the background.
Oh, I don't know
That's
about
why I put that on there because I knew that was going to be yes because Nicholas
Adam,
is an anxious
I beg
guy.
to differ. I beg to differ.
Check it off. It's on there. Everybody put it down.
It's a bad one anyway, so I don't care. John's picking the worst ones. Fine, that counts.
Do I have anxiety? Yes, absolutely.
But I have. Most people have anxiety. An anxiety attack is like this overwhelming sense of dread, like that you're hyperventilating and your heart's racing and
that sounds more like a panic attack.
All right, an anxiety attack and a panic attack, I'm going to guess are very close cousins. An anxiety. How could you have an attack of anxiety? How is that any different than having anxiety then?
I just work myself up when it comes to
The AI overview says that panic attacks are typically more intense and may include a fear of dying or losing control, whereas anxiety attacks may be less severe but can last longer.
Yeah, they sound like one and the same to me, but who am I? I mean, it's never like I've been to therapy or a psychiatrist. But here we go. All right. You've already done the boring going to the movies.
Well, how much time have you spent in therapy in discussing your cornucopia of issues, the issues of anxiety versus panic?
I've talked about that. I'm aware of what a panic attack is. I wouldn't say an anxiety attack. That's just having anxiety. All right. Anyway, what is Miss Rachel?
Yeah. Did you watch Miss Rachel?
Yes, we did.
There you go.
I don't know what that is either.
It's a children's program that Nick actually likes more than his kid does. Come to find out.
Is it because you like Miss Rachel?
She's all right. She's not bad looking, you know.
Oh, I like
when she's not dressed up like a little kid.
Yeah, Hardy.
Like when she's wearing adult clothes, yes.
Oh, that's a pretty straw man argument there, Nick. So you're attracted to a woman that dresses in children's clothes.
I just said.
No, what you said is
what I just said is
there's a children's host
no
that dresses as a little girl.
I did not say that.
And you find her to be attractive.
I said when she's in normal clothes.
Okay, so your brain just shuts off when she's not in
when
normal
she's
clothes.
in normal clothes, attractive. When she's not, when she's doing her YouTube thing, not attractive.
I have get a lawyer if you ever get in trouble because that's not going to get you out of any kind of questioning. All right, go ahead. Is it me again? Because these are some of these.
Hardy. It's Hardy's turn.
All right, go ahead.
Did you listen to the show?
No.
Of course not. He did listen to the show, by the way.
No.
Yes,
do you guys listen to the show when you guys are on?
For a minute,
if I'm
I
in
did.
town and I'm in my car, I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
I might not listen to it for a long time.
No. I got to sleep in until 9 o'clock, and
yeah,
also
the show's on till 10.
Yeah, but I'm not rushing downstairs to turn on the TV or turn on the radio.
This is a D- situation. All right, let's just go through them all. Did you go to Touch a Truck, Nick?
No.
Okay. Did you check your work email?
No.
Okay. I'm not even asking chores. Did you wake up? Did you still wake up at 4? You already said no.
No.
Okay.
I slept in.
Were you stressed about work? No.
Always.
You were stressed about work even though you weren't listening to the show or checking
and
an email.
And you didn't check your work email.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a a balance or like a low.
What about
balance.
work were you stressed about if you weren't stressed
I don't
enough
know.
to check your work email?
I wasn't really
what?
that.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, this segment is over. There's no saving it. Thank you, Nicholas. Bye-bye.
I wasn't pissed off until he said he was stressed about work, despite not talking to anyone from work, listening to
And
the
like
show.
your 2-year-old had a fit. Wow.
Or checking your work email.
Yeah. We probably should have done a deeper dive into the actual executing of that segment. Because other than the dad thing, nothing really of interest on there at all. All right. People have been sending Fast and Furious all these Bill and Jordan stories that have come out. I'm actually on Jordan's side about something. I think she didn't do anything wrong in one sense. I think she did something that was fairly right. And I have to be fair because if people are just going to insult her for everything she does, then insulting her for things she does wrong loses all its power. All right, so we will be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more.
Studios. WDZ-FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Red Sox in Colorado were scoreless into the sixth inning last night at Fenway Park, and then they weren't.
Swinging a shot back toward the wall, high and deep, and gone! Trevor Story with a 3-run homer, and the rout is on once again at Fenway. Number 15.
That is Dave O'Brien on Nesson. Trevor Story had that homer and 4 RBIs to power a 10-2 win over the Rockies. Brian Bayo, a complete Game 5 hitter while striking out 10 for the win. Sox have won 5 in a row. They go for a 3-game sweep of the Rockies tonight. Turning to basketball, Celtics news. Brad Stevens met the media yesterday. He said the roster he has now is probably the roster the team will go with at the beginning of next season. Al Horford is not expected to return and is reportedly considering retirement. Jaylen Brown expected to be a full go for next season. And 3 days after getting him from New Orleans, the Washington Wizards traded Kelly Olynyk to San Antonio, and Lionel Messi and Inter Miami CF visit the New England Revolution tonight at Gillette Stadium. Kickoff is at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. With over 50 trucks on the road, because your clogged drain is their emergency, go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Is elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
You put in the password, and it's the dots. It doesn't show you how to do it. Oh yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, that kid is driving me nuts. Okay, dude. I'm on the air.
There you go. Have him call in. You guys can settle it here.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. All right. So anyway, shush. I've reached my breaking point with this bingo break we just did. All right, here we go. All right. Look. The Jennifer Hudson. Jordan Hudson is. No one has been tougher on Jordan Hudson than me. Not so much on her, but on the relationship with Bill Belichick. I knew from the very beginning it was going very, very sideways, that she's let herself take control of his finances and relationship just right from the beginning of the social media. But I have to...
And I think in fairness to us, Fred, we were on her side at first when it was just the photos. We really wanted to have like an in with Jordan because we had photo suggestions, and that was going to be fun. That was going to be a fun thing for us to be able to do if we could influence the next photo shoot. And we weren't necessarily against her at any point.
No,
the fun was
early
getting
on.
Bill jerk Bill around a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we were hoping for.
And then what happened was that she started to act like she was better than people and started to boss professionals around in a role that she was completely unsuited for. So that was when I started not to enjoy her. That and the whole insistence on being involved in some pageantry contest. She's young in every other way except for pageants. Pageants is something where I think that should be pretty much over with when pageant mom isn't a thing anymore. Pageant mom, you feel sorry for the girl. Pageant adult, you don't feel so sorry. Well, anyway, look, there are these emails that have come out from you know how UNC, because it's a publicly funded institution, has to be able to give these emails out. They're public record. Pablo Torre was like going after them. We found out like fun ones from Belichick, like instructing people to go through Jordan. They were fun for a while. Well, now there are like AI articles coming out because you know it's an AI article when there's like 3 paragraphs and it says, why is Jordan Hudson so controversial? And it's just like AI nonsense. It's like a little disgusting. And all it is annoying people from North Carolina complaining about her. And if that's like a big issue with her and him, good luck. Every coach and at every level, from Little League to Pee Wee football, all the way through the NFL, is having problems with parents and aggravated consumers and things like that.
Right. One of the statements was essentially, "Oh, we have tens of millions of dollars to hire Bill Belichick, but we can't get all the professors that we need." That letter could be written to any school.
Welcome to
big
time football.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
That's exactly what
Right.
dozens of schools across the country.
So,
are dealing
like,
with.
that's not worthy of like a news story at all. Like, that's like just taking Twitter, like taking Twitter comments and making the story that. You know, people on Twitter are mad at so-and-so. Like, well, who cares? Yeah, like a few alumni or say 1,000 alumni. Out of all of the alumni in the history of University of North Carolina are upset about the Jordan Hudson thing, that's not a news story at all. That's not interesting in the least. Complainers? Wait tables for a week. You'll get 10 people complaining about you. That's nonsense. Now, this too... I'm on Jordan's side about. Now, look, let's get it out. Let's go under the assumption that we now all know that she has no business being a PR person, and maybe even the university and Belichick have stepped in, and the publishing company of that book that was a failure. I was at the airport, and that book was like at the airport. The fact that that's not selling, like if your book is at the Birmingham Alabama airport, like it's, not a literate society. Like if it's one of like the 10 books at that airport, you should be on the bestsellers list in your category just by default, just because it's there. Like getting that kind of shelving space is a bit of a coup. Like you have to be with a major publisher and they have to, I'm sure that takes some doing. But anyway, it's not being an independent bookstore in the corner. I mean, this is like, again, there's 10 books. You have 10 to choose from. But she's not a good PR person. Should a PR person be responding to people on social media? No, they shouldn't. But we know she's not. She's not a PR person. So this is the story. And we got sent to this by a lot of people, but I don't blame her for this. Again, she has no business handling anyone's PR. Mine, yours, anyone's. A local body shop's PR she doesn't have any business taking care of. Says Jordan Hudson, blah, blah, blah. She's his girlfriend. She made headlines this week. Did she? After unleashing a fiery response to an alleged internet stalker on Instagram, the confrontation escalated quickly and captured more attention than most storylines so far this offseason. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all. The story of her going after online people has generated more stories than most things this offseason. Huh?
No.
The hell is it? I see this article from Pro Football Network.com. What are you talking about? Yeah, you can't escape it. Now, what generated a lot was when she did CBS This Morning and interrupted that. Now, that was a huge story. This is nothing. And it said it started as a typical Instagram exchange that quickly turned into a digital takedown. Hudson accused this user, it doesn't matter who, of being connected with a persistent online harasser named Irene Lopez. She claims Lopez has been behind multiple burner accounts and harassment campaigns targeting her posts. Hudson didn't hold back in her response. She explained, your account was created July of 2025, suspicious. Which is suspicious.
Yeah.
Now, should she be spending her time sifting through responses and finding out when the accounts were created? Probably not. Is that healthy for her? No. Does that make her a bad person or in any way unique to any of us at some point in our lives? No. We've all been getting a lot of crap online, and we've all probably checked. I can't speak for you guys, but I certainly have in the past, like checked who they were and checked when they signed up. I still do. There was that one I told you guys about that was like just like this out of nowhere, like insanely cruel, like wishing me death thing. And to the point where and it was in the guy's story on Instagram. It wasn't a comment. It was in the guy's story. So I clicked on it. I'm like, what the hell's up with this guy? Do I know him? And then I was like, oh, he's like a comedian. And I'm like, why would a comedian do this? I mean, not really a comedian, but a guy who's performed with a mic. And she says, your account was created in July of 2025, suspicious. And then she added, is this another Irene Lopez burner account? And then it lit up the comment section. And it says, is this? And so basically what happened is that she was getting a lot of crap for a comment that she made. She knows there's this woman, I don't know who it is, Irene Lopez. And Irene Lopez is creating a bunch of burner accounts, and she called her out. Why does that make Jordan a bad person? How is she the bad person here? Now, is it savvy PR? No. But again, we're under the assumption that we all understand, including all parties involved, that she can't do PR. You know?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. But does any of this strike you as her doing anything wrong?
No. Ill-advised, but not wrong. She's just behaving as a lot of people do who are like brand new to social media and certainly not PR savvy by wallowing around in the mud with, commenters and burner accounts and all that stuff. If she had it within herself to just ignore it and to brush it aside, yeah, that's what you should do. But to expose somebody or to just every once in a while call someone on their BS, it's a strong compulsion, and I don't blame her for doing it either. She just, every once in a while, somebody will get into your kitchen and just make you, nope, I'm not letting it go this time. I'm not letting it go this time, and that's what she's doing this time.
Yes, she's 24 years old. When she started dating Belichick, she obviously knew she was going to become famous, or her hope was to become famous, and she probably thought, wow, I'll become famous and everyone will love me, because that's the hope, is that you're filling this hole in your life that you feel like the thing that you're missing is this fame and this notoriety, and that everyone will love you, that you'll be associated with this guy who's this great coach who your dad probably loves. You know, your dad probably was a huge Patriot fan, and, wow, you're with Bill Belichick. This is so crazy. He's so famous. And you don't see that, people are going to be attacking you. And then she probably put something innocuous up on whatever Twitter or Instagram or whatever the hell it was. I think it was Instagram. I don't even think she's on Twitter, maybe, but probably is. But this is Instagram. And she's like surprised that people are coming after her. And when she sees a coordinated attack that's under like one person creating a bunch of burner accounts, her reaction is, I'm going to call this person out. Now, obviously, does it do anything to benefit her? No. Does it hurt this Irene woman? No, it helps them. I mean, that's what this woman apparently does. This Irene woman, her life goal is to troll people and to get people to notice her by the negative things she says online about others. So it doesn't help her, but I don't know how we're going to look at her and go, hey, you should be able to handle people crapping on you all the time online better. Like, you should be able to, like, whenever you're on your phone, just accept that everyone's crapping on you all the time and just deal with it. Now, if you're going to be on CBS This Morning and interrupt an interview, then you have to deal with the consequences of that. If you're going to put social media posts of you and an ancient ugly dude, like, cavorting around on the beach, you have to accept there's going to be some negative stuff to that. If you're going to date a ancient legend who is past his prime and, have ring camera footage of him come out, you have to accept that this is going to be a bit of a scandal. But if you're just sitting around on a random Tuesday night and nothing's happened, and you see this inordinate amount of crap coming onto you, it's not her responsibility. She should handle it like a lady. Like, what is she supposed to do? And how is she at all even in the same category as being as bad as the person that's doing it? Like, if the media comes after you for something you did publicly, that comes with the territory. You want to be famous, you want to be rich, you want to latch hitch your wagon to this old guy that's famous and try to get famous off of him.
There is a
that comes with the territory, and I don't feel bad about any of that. My job is to critique popular culture and sports, and that is very much very much a compelling story to me, and I find it to be fascinating. But she doesn't have to sit there and handle everything like a goddess or like the most savvy professional in the world. Like, I don't like that these stories are coming out because they cheapen all the wonderful stories that have come out.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Adam and I had both seen him, and Adam's like, we could maybe turn him into something. And I knew my angle on it is stop with these stories. These stories are getting us out of the real issue.
Yeah.
Is that she's with an old gross guy. He's got his boobies out on this Ring camera. He's let her like buy all this property in Dorchester. That stuff's fascinating. He's famous. It's fascinating. It's such diametrically opposed to the way he led us to believe he was, that it's fascinating. This stuff and her being on Instagram and yelling at people and them yelling at her, so what? She's a human being. She's allowed to be a human being. This makes me look worse. You understand? Because it makes me look like I'm going to call her out for like getting mad at someone on Instagram. I don't like that.
It comes back to Fred. I understand.
Of course it comes back to me, Jonathan.
It comes back to Fred. Yep.
In the hierarchy, it goes Pablo Torre, then this show. Don't put it all on me.
Sure.
On this show. These are the true trailblazers of this story, but I don't want to look like I'm willy-nilly taking shots at the lady.
The funny part about it is she's kind of kept a low profile for the last month or two in the hopes of making this all go away. Well,
that's my point is that I think we're all I'm under the assumption now this has all kind of been taken care of by smarter people than Bill and
that's
Jordan.
The first thing I thought of when I knew we were going to do a Bill and Jordan break. It's been a long time. It seems like that's by design. Someone she trusted finally put the raps on
I don't
her.
think that happened. I think the university I think when the book tanked, my opinion, I don't know any of this, but I would have to guess when that book tanked, the book publisher was like, no.
Either way, she's either being forced to or has agreed to listen to
whoever
somebody.
handles his management, which has to be a company of some esteem, were like, dude, you just had a book that was a surefire moneymaker that you actively tanked because of your behavior. His behavior.
Yeah.
He's the one responsible. Look, man, if he was dating a 24-year-old, he'd be like every other old rich guy. You can go out to the seaport to any of these restaurants and see plenty of old gross guys with girls Jordan Hudson's age. It's an agreement. It's a seeking arrangement situation. We all know what it is. That's his business. When it became funny was when he let her take control of everything and just ended handing her millions of dollars. Yeah. That's when it became funny. When the great altogether Coach Belichick, who's above it all and above the fray and doesn't get dragged down into the mire, now all of a sudden is acting like a complete fool, a bigger fool than anyone else, any of his contemporaries.
I just hope that Pablo Torre doesn't try and do any investigating on this or give this particular incident, this Instagram thing, any of his time, because it's beneath him. It's not. It would be like Woodward and Bernstein in the middle of Watergate going after G. Gordon Liddy for parking tickets.
Yes.
No. Leave that part out of it. Focus in on the big story.
Well, I'm going to say this, even though his boss, Dan Lebitard, would probably take it out of context, is that I have faith in Pablo that he wouldn't do something like that.
Good.
And of all people I feel getting a blowback from, it would be his boss, Dan Lebitard, who I feel is jealous. Jealous with every fiber of my being.
Because they are jealous of us.
That would never not be funny.
Not jealous of, I know what you're doing, but not jealous of me, jealous of Pablo. I think that Lebitard doesn't like the attention that Pablo Torre is getting because it's one of his employees, and Lebitard thinks that he should be getting that attention. I absolutely 100%. And you can make fun of that all you want on the Lebitard show. I stand by that 1,000%. I think that there's nothing else that justifies it. That's human condition. You're making fun of that and calling out people that like Pablo Torre because you don't like that it's not you, that you want to be the one doing it. You know, he's making you money. It's all working. He's getting you publicity in a very real way, in a way that's not above your company. And if you don't like people applauding him for that, I think you wish people were applauding you more. That's all. All right, so there you go. Jordan, you win this round, my dear. And let's stop with these these kind of like surface attacks, okay? Let's keep it to the real embarrassing stuff. Because more will come out. Don't you worry. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
More.
Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. If you would like to get us to get your emails to us, simply go to 985thesportshub.com, and you can find our emails. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Toucher and Hardy, at Hardy985, and at Fred Toucher, where I influence. Andrew Gabriel says, at least get the story right. We were talking about Rafael Devers missing workouts with Will Clark at first base before the games. It says, and this is supposed to make us feel bad. It's, again, what we already said. Friday, Saturday, this is according to Will Clark during his appearance on the No Filter Network. So,
of course,
this network.
Are there a lot of filters in what they say?
Not only are there not a lot, there are none.
Oh,
these this is all straight from the soul. This is straight from the gut. Most of these places are filtering all this Will Clark information.
But there
These
must
guys
be a lot
can't.
of like safety nets and a lot of gatekeepers, and there are people keeping the reins on these guys, right?
No, there's a lot of racist stuff. I mean, it's like this Elon Musk, the AI stuff. It's very anti-Jewish. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he did not come out early at all, period, not at all. In fact, he didn't even hit on the field. Everybody was like, oh, my God, I'm sorry. So sorry, Will. I'm so sorry. I know what the F happened. I said he didn't want to go out and be at first base and be 20 feet in front of their freaking dugout. And with that, what went on in Boston, and now he's working with me at first base. He didn't want to go out there and go through all that S through the. So guess what, everyone? He's saying that people are saying that he didn't come out at all. He didn't even hit on the field. He didn't come out at all. He's saying, yeah, he didn't come out at all. He didn't even hit on the field. He didn't want to go through that crap with the Red Sox. I think he's defending Rafael Devers, is my opinion on that. And I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me. Here we have our friend who was in studio with her dog, Sarah from Everett.
Oh, yeah.
She just says boring to me.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was boring?
Whatever we were just doing, the stuff about Jordan I don't think,
right.
you know what, typical hater doesn't like it when the woman's being defended.
Oh.
I was defending Jordan Hudson there, I really was.
Well, Sarah was emailing me earlier in the show because I've had 2 dead rabbits in 2 weeks because there is a den of them living underneath my shed, and I got to get the rabbits out of there. It's just, it's the dinner bell rings daily now at my house for these rabbits. And she said, I will happily lend you my Min Pin Sammy. She was the little dog I brought to the studio. The breed are vermin hunters. She will have that shed cleared in 5 minutes. I can go into why they are marked the way they are, and their natural tail is a hook, so you can pull them out of the rabbit/rat tunnel.
I think that'd be great. That'd be great. You could invite Sarah to your house, maybe have a lovely lunch.
Yeah, she can just give the dog she's babysitting rabies. The whole thing can work out for everyone.
Awesome.
I don't know if the rabies from the rabbit is a thing. I do think the Lyme disease is a thing. I think rabbits carry the ticks that you find on the deers, too. So,
well, there you go. All right, so this is from John. He says, hey, Fred, this is for all of us and not just for me. A great segment on Fleece Johnson. His exuberant, ribald, and devastatingly honest portrayal of his love for male booty in jail, although he professes love for his wife and can keep a moral compass separating business from pleasure in prison, is fascinating, funny, and disturbing. Now, here, tell me if you've seen this before. It reminds me of the Richard Speck tape. Have you guys seen that?
I have not.
It rings a bell. Explain.
Have you, Hardy, seen the Richard Speck tape?
No.
Oh, if you want to give yourself nice nightmares, Richard Speck was a serial killer who was in Illinois penitentiary, and someone snuck one of the inmates. Anything went in this penitentiary. And there's video of him smoking drugs and everything else. They had a camcorder in there.
Oh, yeah. I did not. I remember hearing this is what. Yeah, I heard what it was. I'm like, I'm not watching that.
It's
yeah.
If more than anything, you're like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
It's like early mid 80s jail in Illinois, and they're just doing whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're like freebasing cocaine, like out in the open. There's like 20 guys in this like single cell, and Richard Speck, they were letting him people smuggle in hormones for him to take, so he would be more like a woman in there. And this isn't some kind of advocacy thing. This was like prisoners were sneaking it in to give it to him, so he would be more attractive. He would be more attractive to them. And they were like placating him with drugs and stuff. The Richard Speck tape, one of the truly disturbing things I've ever seen. And that is saying something. Yeah, and this is what he just says. He says, how the F were they able to get that large video camcorder in jail, keep it hidden from the guards, and then smuggle the tape out? The thing is, there seems to have been literally no rules in that Illinois jail. Like, none. They were just able to do whatever they want. Because there's drugs in prison. Everyone knows. But you would figure that it's a bit of a pain in the ass to get them in. You got to pay off guards and stuff like that. This is legitimately 15 guys sitting in, and not in like a cell with bunks, like a single cell, 20 guys in the cell freely just freebasing cocaine. While Richard Speck talks about how much he loves being in jail because he is enjoying the relationships that he's having. It's a bit of anarchy in there.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, it reflected poorly on the Illinois penal system when that came out, and they had to at least feign making some changes.
They had to take a look at a few things.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, wow, these guys are just doing whatever they want. This is stuff that would be, like, you wouldn't go out onto Main Street here in Waltham with 20 guys and just start freebasing cocaine. I don't even think you'd go to Methadone Mile and just start freebasing cocaine, 20 guys in the middle of the day, just freebasing cocaine in a big like party, not trying to hide it or anything. It seems like that would be harder to do outside of jail than it was for them to do in jail. If you understand what I'm saying. So there you go. All right, what do you guys got?
You call yourselves sports guys. This is supposedly a great sports radio station. Not one mention of the best soccer player in the world coming to Foxborough tonight.
Have you not mentioned it in the headlines?
Every single headline, yes.
John had some idea to have someone on to talk about Messi. We saw Messi, and it was very kind of the Revolution to have us, and they had a beautiful box, and it was a wonderful affair, very crowded. And Messi scored 2 goals. But I have to tell you, knowing nothing about soccer, to me it appeared, and tell me if I'm wrong, Messi scored 2 goals without literally leaving a 10-by-10 space.
I was just going to say he didn't move, but I will say this: the couple of times the ball came his way, he converted, which is right. Which is otherworldly if you watch soccer.
He probably, if he had a pedometer on, he probably moved about a quarter mile over the course of the entire game, if that. And the ball would get kicked to him, and then he would just easily juke the guy that was on him and then, bend it around or whatever the hell they do and score.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to keep track of him out there on the pitch. No, he's still right there. He's right there.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out there.
Yeah, that's
just waiting.
He's standing there.
This isn't. We had the debate about the anxiety attack versus panic attack, and to be honest, I don't know. I was just trying to make something out of nothing. This says, Fred, an anxiety attack can persist for months, sharing many symptoms with a panic attack, which occurs suddenly. Symptoms of a panic attack include shortness of breath and all that stuff. When people use the term panic attack to describe both experiences, an anxiety attack can resemble a mild form of PTSD. There you go. To be honest with you, I don't have a lot of facts or opinions on the matter. I was just trying to fill time. In all honesty, I was just trying to fill time.
So we had the Skip Bayless thing yesterday. He was talking about the movie Sinners and how uncomfortable it made him feel and how it brought up all these feelings of white guilt.
Yeah, he felt the horror movie finally let him know there was racism.
Right. John in New Hampshire said, well, I immediately went and watched Sinners. He said, I think you're right. It's a very well-produced and well-acted film that is a vampire movie that also happens to occur in a time where racism was rampant. He also makes the very good point that it's more about music and the blues and like how that conjures up evil spirits than it is about racism. And then he goes on to tell me what a great job I did doing color commentary for the Boston Glory. So,
look
you
at
know what,
you.
John? Great email all around.
Okay.
You agreed with my opinion on something, and then you gave me a compliment.
Here's what's weird about the Bayless thing is not take like even what the movie is like kind of out of it. It's like if you saw City of God, the movie, which is a fictional film, but it's based in like the slums of Brazil. We have no idea what the slums of Brazil are like, right? It's filmed there. It's like this hellhole, like this, like where waste is just running off the streets. Like they don't have plumbing, like all this stuff. So you see City of God and you're like, oh my, look at the plight of the people of Brazil. Find it very hard for a 70-something-year-old U.S. citizen to go, you know, these blacks had it pretty rough.
It's like Jack Nicholson in About Schmidt when he meets the Native American.
Yeah.
He says, those people got a raw deal.
Yeah. It's like you saw like something about, I don't know, like any U.S. minority and went like Jews, for instance, and you saw like a Woody Allen movie and you're like, you know what? I think that there was a time in the 20th century where Jewish people had it wasn't so great for them.
I've fought with all my might against racial injustice.
Yeah. That was what the silly part was. Is that just that a fictional movie about vampires like somehow led him to finally
still feel so deeply guilty about it.
Come to grips with that black people have had a tough time of it in this country.
Evil, devious white people.
And then
bludgeoned
and then he goes so far as to proclaim that if you've followed him, no one loves black people more than him, or has supported them more than Skip Bayless, which is true. I mean, that is not hyperbole. No one has, and I bet you for our black listeners, how often have you actually just thanked the Lord that he exists to shed light on the problems that you as a race are having?
By the throat.
So no one has to see Sinners for me to know that that's a ridiculous notion, that he just came to grips with it. It makes him sound very dumb, is what it does sound like.
Bludgeoned and battered by white guilt.
Now, you could see like a documentary on Selma, Alabama, and go like, oh, wow, like this is even worse than I thought it was. But a fictional film about vampires.
Vampires river dancing?
Yeah, okay, very good. All right, everyone is as tired as I am. We need to get out of here. All right, we will be right back. Here are the headlines.
Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. And despite the fact that I went to bed at 1 o'clock yesterday morning, I only threw my phone once today.
Nice.
And I threw it.
That was just now. So you lasted a long time.
I threw it, and so I deliberately would hit the AstroTurf, and then it would cushion. I wasn't mad enough to break it. It was I just tossed it. You know, I'm really upset if I throw it with all my might. Yes, John.
One quick sports thing, Hardy.
Please. Yep.
The Oklahoma City Thunder just signed Chet Holmgren to a 5-year, $250 million max extension. And that's important because now they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Holmgren tied up, which leaves Jalen Williams, who is a first-time All-NBA player, still waiting for his contract extension. We just found out what the Celtics went through with trying to negotiate the cap and the aprons. After next season, OKC has a big problem on their hands. That's all.
Would you have picked Holmgren?
No, I would have picked Williams.
Yeah, so would I.
I would have picked Williams. Holmgren, I mean, he kind of disappeared in Game 6 of the finals. He's been back and forth, and we've gone back and forth on this before, Fred. His body type, very susceptible to injury, and as the years roll on, he's not going to gain 40 pounds. He's always going to be that tall, thin guy. They just tied up a lot of money. That's a big risk for them.
Yeah, he's Porzingis-esque.
Yeah.
He's a little more... Tell me if I'm wrong. He seems a little bit more physical, like he's a little bit more of a post player.
I would agree with that, yes.
But yeah, he's got that, and we've known of Holmgren since what, 7th grade?
Yeah.
And
he was like the number one recruit in the country when he was in high school.
Yeah, I mean, he was 7 feet tall and good in Minnesota in 7th grade. So like, I actually remember him, and like, yeah, they've successfully put some weight on him, but. He's like you said. He's never going to be Shaq or anything. Not even close.
But today is a big move for Sam Presti. He's choosing a lane. He's choosing a lane here.
He made it because Alexander there was no question about it, and then it was. I guess you're making it sound like you had to choose between the two. It's an interesting choice. Maybe he took the unicorn. I guess.
Kevin Keitzman is the midday guy at KCMO in Kansas City. He also has a podcast.
Which is great. I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I know this story, if I'm the owner of the radio station, I'm like, by all means, keep all the interesting stuff to the podcast.
Right. Well, this was interesting what he said earlier this week.
Meanwhile, vacation photos are popping up of Patrick Mahomes, and he's fat. I'm going to say it. He's an embarrassment. You're a $500 million quarterback. Dude, you're fat. Your belly would be fat at my pool, hanging out with us, 60-year-olds, okay? My skin's flabbier than yours. I get it. Stop the fast food. Do a sit-up. Do something. You can't just run through your NFL career eating Taco Bell all the time and door dashing fried chicken, which he loves. I'm just reporting to you right now, he's done nothing but eat and drink this offseason.
Well, I don't take that last part out of context. Not sure you want that.
He's done nothing but eat
out
and drink
there.
this offseason.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. You take that out of context, I'm not sure I wouldn't have said that. I would have censored myself, but nonetheless, first of all, he's not fat, but the thing that's bad about that is he says he's an embarrassment. Because I saw Pasternak last summer and he was fat, but then he lost the weight. I didn't say he's an embarrassment. He looked kind of fat, but that's all.
It's a little embarrassing when Mahomes tries to write it off as no, I'm trying to keep a lot of mass in my obliques. It helps with my rotation. Okay, fine. Not everybody has to look the same way, and we know it's not a fashion show. It's not how you look; it's how you play. But
did Mahomes say that, or did his trainer say that?
Both he and his trainer have essentially said that, and his trainer said, "Yeah, we're doing all this for a reason." But I think there's enough evidence now on record saying hey, keep yourself in better shape. You probably play longer, if nothing else, and it probably won't hurt your game.
Well, Brady certainly got thinner and thinner and thinner, and it didn't hurt him at all.
Right.
You know what? He kept himself pliable.
Very important. Very important.
You got to stay pliable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the stretching. It's not the flexibility. It's the pliability.
Yeah. You can't, because think about it. If you're constricting your muscles, they're getting tighter. You want them loosey-goosey.
Yes.
That's what the pitchers do. They got the whole
the thing
situation.
In the bullpen. You see them back and forth. Yeah.
It's an hour.
I thought they just took Advil.
No, they take Advil. They use a massage gun. They have they do a whole band workout.
Yep.
It's a whole thing.
Greenies. Yep.
Yeah, and then Hardy alleges greenies, which I'm still investigating. All right, that'll do it for us. We shall be back tomorrow if everything turns out okay. And tomorrow is my daughter's birthday.
Oh.
So that's 4 hours right there. No need to plan a show.
Right.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Bye.